can see the prompt because I know the words are kind of blocking it. Make sure you guys can see it. I want you guys to be able to see it. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I switch here. So there has been an update to the situation, right? And the judge that lowered Karmelo's bond. It was a judge that lowered Karmelo's bond. Her name is Judge Angelina Tucker. Judge Angelina Tucker lowered Karmelo's bond, so or bail, and now he's posted on bail. Now he's out on bail. He's on house arrest. He's home. He's safe. All that, all that's fine and dandy, right? So he's all good. And all over the internet, especially on Twitter, it is massive outrage. It's massive outrage, so much so the judge is now fearing for her safety. Of course, there's a lot of people threatening Karmelo, but the judge has now boosted up her own personal security because she's getting threats online. People are talking about they're going to do, and this is TikTok, so I got to, have everything TikTok friendly. So, but they're talking about they're going to do crazy, harmful things to her and all that stuff. And a lot of people saying that this was evil for a judge to be so light on a criminal. This is a violation of the law. Where has America gone? And it's very interesting because if you look to the prompt over here, this is Kyle Rittenhouse. Now, Kyle Rittenhouse in his situation, like I said, we got to be very TikTok friendly. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it bigger for right now. Kyle Rittenhouse's judge pretty much worked as his defense attorney. Let's be very clear. Kyle Rittenhouse's judge was doing everything in his absolute power to defend Kyle. Everything in his power. And I'm not talking about just the fact that, Kyle everybody was taking it easy on him in the media. I'm talking about Kyle was up there fake crying and Kyle was doing this. The judge said that you couldn't call the people that Kyle unalived victims. The judge let Kyle pick out his own jury because they needed people in the jury. Kyle was not innocent. Kyle was 100% guilty. The judge let Kyle pick out his own jury. The judge said that you couldn't bring up Kyle's past. Kyle had a past where he was attacking people. It's all over video and everything like that. Kyle also had another video where he admitted that he wanted to go to a protest so he can pow people. And that's on video. And Kyle and this judge, said that you couldn't bring that up in court. You couldn't bring that up in court whatsoever. So this judge was doing everything. So Kyle had his defense attorney and the judge, and there was no outrage. There was absolutely no outrage. But now you have a judge who has because $1 million bond is crazy for this situation. That's crazy for the situation. So she lowered the bond, didn't get rid of it, but she lowered the bond. This is legal. This is something that judges do all the time. She lowered the bond. Now he's home. It's not like he's walking free. It's not like the case is over with. It's not like the case has been dismissed. Kyle's bond was $2 million. Yeah, Kyle's bond was $2 million, but Kyle actually unalived multiple people with an actual rifle. So that's not the same thing. And we're not talking about the bond. We're talking about the hypocrisy because y'all are literally threatening one judge for literally giving somebody bail, for lowering the bond. And this judge, you got to mute yourself as you're coming in. And this judge worked as a completely biased. It was almost like a parody what was going on in his courtroom. And there is absolutely no outrage. Nobody saying he should lose his license. Nobody saying he should get disbarred. Nobody saying any of that. So it's just hypocritical outrage that's racially motivated. And let's just tell the truth about that. It's all racially motivated. Now, I want to get to some of the speakers here. So let's get to Saria.
What's good there, brother?
How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling good there, brother. So, you absolutely put everything in its proper context, before bringing up guests. I love that. And it is what it is there, brother. We know what it is. I think this case is really going to be one of those access points or vector points, if you will, and race relations in the United States. For us, it highlights what most of us understand. Most of us in this vein of thought. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But for a lot of our people, it's going to be eye opening and revelation in terms of their relationships that they have with some white tea people who they feel are on good terms, if you will. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very true.
To me, this is one of those OJ moments.
Mm-hmm.
It has that potential. It's such a powder keg right now, and I would just advise my people to move carefully move carefully where you are right now, especially if you are in a so-called integrated community. You feel like you're safe. Uh, just tread lightly right now, if I'm making sense.
Yeah, you definitely are because right now, situations like this, like for instance, the situation with OJ, the situation like this, the situation with Trayvon Martin, those situations, those bring out the true feelings of
Yes,
all of the people's YT friends, even not even just the YT community, the non-black people. So your Hispanic friends and your non-black friends and stuff like that, your non-black Asian friends, they're gonna actually start showing their true colors now. They're gonna start releasing and spewing that little anti-blackness that they've been hiding from you now. They're gonna do that. So this is gonna be a very good
teachable
indicator
moment.
of that. Very good for everybody to know where people stand.
And then, you know what? I hate the fact, that I'm respectful of the loss of life. We all are, I think, because we know how precious life is.
Mhm.
And I wish this situation wouldn't not have happened. But being that it did happen, we all have to say, well, let the justice system do what it do, but we know what it do when it come down to us. We know it's not going to be any fairness, and you pointed that out. Even with the comparing it to the Carl Rittenhouse and the judge and the blatant favor he was showing in that situation, versus all our sister did was lower the bill.
Yeah.
Now they act like, oh, this is just a perversion of justice. How could this happen in America? Shit, how can it not? You know what I mean? If you know what I'm saying. I don't see it as an injustice as our brother, being out on bail. Not at all. If anything, he may get more of hopefully a fair dealing by him not being behind bars. You
Hopefully
know?
he does.
And be
Hopefully.
honest with you, I'm gonna put that out there in the universe, and I shouldn't say it, but if he can get out the country right now, I'll do it. I get the hell out the country and let the chips fall where they may. That's just me.
Well, I'm gonna say this right now. Before we move on to the next speaker, this is an unfortunate situation. Nobody at all wanted this to happen, and nobody's saying that this is okay. This is something that should be happening. Nobody. This is a terrible situation that everybody would have wanted to prevent. Unfortunately, it did happen. But what we're not going to do is we're not going to change the rules of self-defense because he's black, which is what everybody's like really trying to do. That's what people are really trying to do. Self-defense, now everybody's redefining self-defense because he's black. Now, we can understand that this is a terrible situation. Of course it is. But let's be honest, most cases of self-defense are bad. There's not really many good cases of self-defense. But what we're not going to do is we're not going to sit up there and change the rules of self-defense. Sorry, I'm moving the thing around. We're not going to change the rules of self-defense because the person who defended himself was black. Yeah, we're not going to do that now. No, no.
Unfortunately, dear brother, I think that's going to be the case. And I don't know where is this that took place in Texas, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Chicago, and I don't know if something like that will go down. Let's say in Chicago, it'd have to be like out of Naperville, Skokie. I don't know if you're familiar with Chicago area, but
Yeah, I'm from Chicago. Yeah.
yeah, but let's just say if it's just a bad situation, you know what I mean? And I don't see the brother getting justice at all.
Well, that's
One moment,
we
one
got to back
moment.
him up. We got to back him up.
I'm I'm sorry, Afro. How long have you been live? Have you been
Not
live
long,
long?
not long.
Oh,
Maybe 10 minutes, maybe.
okay. I'm sorry because I was like, but is that Mamia over there? Is that Miriam
Miriam.
with the white tea lady profile, ma'am? May I have
Yeah,
your race
it
and
looked like it.
ethnicity,
Or
please?
very. Yeah, got a blonde hair or something.
Mamia,
I couldn't really see
yeah.
it, but yeah.
I'm trying to see if she's the African lady who's kind of like a big mouth troll. Her name is Mamia. Ma'am,
No.
can I have you? No? Okay. Sorry for that then. Go ahead. Go
And
ahead,
we want to
Afro.
keep the. We just want to keep the lives productive. So sometimes
Right.
trolls come in and then they say something and we get flagged and stuff like that. So we just got to be careful. So that's why she was doing that.
Yeah, I understand, man. I was having a live and I had a white tee person coming in there yelling and it got my live shut down. But fortunately, I got
Yeah.
it back up. We have that type of stuff. But brother, I came across your lives, a couple of them. I like what you do, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Hopefully some of our people eyes will be open right now. But during this time period right now, only thing I want to stress to our people, especially
Hmm.
black people,
Hmm.
be careful.
Yes,
They probably can't get to the judge or their brother. And we know how they roll.
that's true.
Just don't get caught slipping. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's true. Now let's let BX go ahead and she can like set the tone of the room, and then we'll start getting to the rest of the speakers. She'll be real quick, and then we'll get to all of the speakers. Okay.
Right. Can everybody on the panel please mute for a moment, just so I don't have no feedback? Thank you, Mamia. Thank you. Okay, so guys, we want a productive conversation. These type of conversations I've seen have gotten pretty heated. So please remember when you come on the panel, immediately go on mute until the host directs you to speak. Please use TikTok friendly language. So don't say the big M, the big R, the big D. You got to use hard candy. You got to use poke, or you got to use deleted, terminated, or unalive. And if you're unsure of if you should say a word or not, then kindly spell it out and we'll figure it out. And the same goes for the chat too. And when you want to talk about the big G word, say G side, but don't say the whole word. Some of us may cuss. Please keep that to a minimal. If it slips out, we understand. Immediately drop fruit. Do not comment F1. And I think that's it. But if y'all see the heart by Afro Elite's name, just click that and send him a heart me so y'all could join the team. That'll help push him up in rankings and get him out into the algorithm. So let's have a good conversation. Oh, and also when you come up, please state your race and ethnicity for the panel. I am Black, and my ethnic group is Black American slash African American, culturally known as a foundational Black American. That's who I am. And Afro is pretty much the same, and
Yeah, I'm
Harlequin
the
too.
same thing. Yep.
So y'all know who we are. We just need to know who we're talking to. Okay, Afro, I'm finished for
Okay,
now.
I'm sorry I didn't say I'm black. I'm black. Black person born in America. That's it.
You're ethnically Black American though, or are you from another? Uh,
I'm no. I'm a descendant of the transatlantic slave trade. Been here for about 500 years, and that's that.
all right, cool. And I appreciate your opinion. Now we'll get to Mamla, if that's how you pronounce it, right?
Yes, it's Mamla.
Okay. Uh, Before you go, your race and ethnicity, I can't really see based off your picture. I can't really tell.
I'm Irish American.
Okay, all right. What do you have to say about the prompt?
Well, I am very glad he got out on bail. I'm very glad. I feel like it's a terrible situation. I'm devastated that two kids are involved in this. And I do think he has a right to defend himself. But I also do feel like two parents on both sides have lost their kids. And I see it. I'm not going to say that I went through whatever anybody else has been through. I'm just coming from a person who loves children. And it just broke my heart because it's turned into this. I feel like America has lost its way in a certain way because these are kids. They're not 30-year-olds. These are high school kids. If he felt uncomfortable, that's terrible to me. If he bullied him, that's terrible to me. We are failing these kids.
Yeah, there definitely does need to be things done as a society. There definitely needs to be things done so the children don't wind up even being in this situation. I think that's something that we all want is for the future. We don't want children to be in this situation. Nobody wants this situation. Okay. So yeah, I agree. We should do something to prevent situations like this forever even occurring. All right, hold on. But thank you. I appreciate your comment. Thank you. Let's get to um Harley Quinn.
Hey, Afros. Good to be on your panel again. Hey, BX. I just wanted to say that I think this is a
Hi,
great victory.
1985.
Hey, mommy. I just want to say that this is a great victory for Carmelo. I've seen a lot of I'm sorry, I saw an interview with the dad saying that he wanted to know what type of family raised him. And I'm so glad that he comes from a two-parent household who's been together over 20 something years because, you know, they like to say that we come from broken homes and our father is not in the home and things of that nature. And I'm really proud that that the parents have remained silent throughout this entire ordeal. I think that for me and hopefully as Black people, you can definitely tell that this is it's almost like trying to incite race baiting, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want us to continue to lead by, I'm sorry, yeah, Carmelo's family, the way that they have handled it, just being quiet, not being baited in with the BS that they're trying to stir up with us, especially since that little Million Man March thing, whatever they did. Not too long ago. I just think that's really crazy that this happened after, you know, they had their little Million Man thing or whatever. I don't even know what to call it. But I don't know. I just feel like the way that we're moving right now, I feel like we should continue to move that way, to not be baited, to not be uh caught off guard as far as what these people are trying to pull us out of our character, if that makes sense. So I'm just hoping that we just keep on pushing. I feel like he is going to be okay in this situation. Here in Texas, they're very strict. They don't just let people go for cases like this. I feel like there's been some type of evidence that they have to prove that Carmelo was acting in self-defense. And I'm just really proud of him. I'm proud of us as a people for how we're dealing with the situation. We're now out rioting. I feel like that's what they kind of wanted us to do, in a sense. Everybody is just being quiet and we're just letting God and our ancestors lead this situation. And this white fragility that they have going on, as far as saying, well, you know, he did X, Y, and Z, or he wasn't supposed to be there. He was supposed to be there. He was on the roster to be there. And it's unfortunate that this young man lost his life, but I feel like these YT people need to start talking to their children about keeping their hands to themselves, because we are not fixing to be handled the way that they're used to be handling us. The gentleman that was talking first, I don't feel like, to me, it just sounded a little bit like fear mongering. Oh, watch your back, this, that, and the third. I think we've been watching our backs for quite a bit. And I think this now has just made us more, open our eyes more to like, okay, yeah, we need to be more careful, but we're not fixing to be hiding or walking in fear of these people. So I just wanted to say big ups to Carmelo, and I hope we continue to pray for him.
Yeah. As you guys are coming up, hit your mute. I'm gonna just say this. another thing, just to second what you just said, we're doing. First off, I really hope if I could give him any advice right now, don't get online. Don't say nothing. When he was coming out, going to the car, there was an interviewer like, "Oh, why did you have the knife? Why did da 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 da?" And she was trying to get him to question, like say something, and he didn't say anything. That is good. He needs to not say anything. He needs to be completely silent. He's home now. He can have a better. I mean, he's still in this situation, but he can have a better peace of mind than being actually in behind bars and everything. His family's not saying anything. They're leaving that to the lawyer, which is good. They're not out there doing a million interviews, because the reality of the situation is that Austin's family messed up with their interviews. They're saying one thing and then saying a different thing. Then the dad saying something different from what the son is saying. And now the son is trying to change it. They kind of messed up actually with their interviews, which is going to hurt their case, the prosecutor's case. The defense is doing a good job. What we're doing is we're just dispelling all of the double standards, okay? And we're speaking about the law. And legally speaking, mute yourself,
Here I
please.
am.
Legally speaking, we are socially putting this out that Karmelo is a victim also in this situation, and he doesn't deserve to face the scrutiny and punishment that people are saying he does. So I just want to second you with that. Now I want to get to the next speaker because we get
Afro, I'm sorry. I know you have an order, but there was some discourse in the comment section, and what I read was from my mermaid that she's not responsible for what her forefathers did. She was accused of being racist and stuff, and I just wanted to have a little discussion with her to say that we understand that she's not responsible for what her forefathers did, but her job today, or what she should want to do as a caring, compassionate human is dismantle the system of racism, because white people inherently uphold that system. And so we're not saying you're responsible for the system, but you do benefit and uphold it too when you don't use your voice and then you come into a black space and you say things that somebody would peg as being racist. So that's why I wanted to bring you up here, because this is a learning moment for everybody. Now that we have white tea women in the room with us, they should hear it too. So when Harlequin said white tea people need to talk to their children, maybe y'all don't understand what you're supposed to be talking to them about. And those are one of the things. Like, your children shouldn't be feeling guilty because they are white tea or what your forefathers did. But the system today, the systemic system, yeah, it's y'all. The onus is on y'all to break down that system, is what I'm saying. And Afro could correct me if I'm wrong.
no, nobody is. You shouldn't feel guilty for something that you're not, that you didn't involved in. What you should feel guilty for is not being a part of the solution. Because in this system, in the system of racial hierarchy, in the system of racism, if you're not a part of the solution, then you are a part of the problem, because you're participating in the system, whether you want to or don't, whether you like it or not. So either you're trying to change it or you're complicit with it and you're going along. And if you go along with it, then you are a part of the system. So this is what we're saying. And the thing is that the the everyday YT person, no, they weren't in charge of building the system, but the fact is the system still exists. They
I
know
was
the
never
system.
in charge of
Hold on,
building the
hold on, hold
system,
on.
though.
Let me
That's
go
the
ahead. Let me go ahead. I'm gonna let you speak. They know the system exists, yet they don't want the system to change. So this is why they pretend that the system doesn't exist. So go ahead, ma'am. Mermaid. Mermaid. You can unmute yourself.
My name is Sophie.
Okay, Sophie.
I live in upstate New York. I am a corrections officer in New York State. I'm not saying that. I guess my biggest problem is there's always this rhetoric around white and black, that the whites have a problem with blacks. And honestly, like, listen, I work in the corrections field. I don't have a problem with African Americans. You guys, like, I don't even see you as that. I see you as straight up Americans. Like, the labelism is beyond me. I don't understand why there has to be even that at this point. It's disgusting. So, I mean, and then we get the short end of the stick because you guys think for some reason, which I understand, but that we hate you, we despise you, we loathe you. We don't. A good portion of us don't give a shit. Like, at the end of the day, we're people. Black, white, gray, brown, yellow, red, whatever. We're people. And we should all love one another.
That's great.
Like,
Let me ask you a question though. Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
What do you think of this situation right here and the prompt, the whole thing?
I've had a very hard time with that right now because I have a 17-year-old son at home who plays sports. And I can understand from what we know happened. I can understand, the kids going to the tent and them saying, hey, you're not in the right tent and da 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 da, like all the bullshit that happened up until the knife came out. And I'm just like, what? Who does that? I would never expect my child to do that. Not in a million years. So why? Why do you pull a knife and stab another of your, this is a kid, the same age as you.
Can I ask you a question? Do you know what the kid was doing before the knife came out? Because I think anytime I hear a YT person bring that up, they always omit the fact that Austin was doing anything before what happened before the knife came out to even cause, even if you want to say, listen, if you want to say that the knife was an overreaction or whatever, okay, Austin wasn't just sitting there drinking some Gatorade and then a knife went into his chest. That's not what happened. So let's put the situation into its proper context. Would you raise your 17-year-old? Would you raise your 17-year-old to go around putting his hands on people, throwing people around? Would you raise your 17-year-old to do that? That's what Austin was doing.
No, sir, I would not. I would not. 100% would not. And they know better. And I think that's the problem that we're dealing with right now as a society is no one's waiting to actually hear, because I feel bad for both of these families. It is so traumatic. I get it from both sides. From, you want to put race on it. I understand the white family. I understand the black family. I understand why they're hurt. It sucks. It's not a good position to be put in, but nobody knows the details right now. So until we know, what really happened, how are you going to justify? I mean, you brought a knife to a track meet and you were not where you were supposed to be and you were asked to leave. It doesn't matter.
Where was he supposed to be?
In his own tent. Listen, I have kids that have been in sports for 28 years now. I get it. I've done this for a long time.
So he wasn't allowed in the other team's tent?
No, you are not. You have your own tent.
That's at a track meet. You have other students from other schools who go into others. It's not a secluded tent.
No, sir, you do not. You do not.
Ma'am,
Here's the thing.
Other people play sports, right? That's true.
I've done this for 28 years now.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So you have experience, but we have common sense. So we all. Why didn't Austin? Right. So why did Austin feel it was his duty to tell Karmelo to leave? Why didn't he get staff?
It maybe not have been his duty, but I think at the end of the day, he was like, hey, this is not your tent to be under. And it is what it is.
He was at a public event.
Everybody got to stop because we cannot
answer the question and you want to talk over me.
At the same time.
Thank you.
Ma'am, do you understand that because you would have to bring up school policy that Karmelo
Yeah.
was not allowed under that tent. Was
There's
he
no school policy for that,
If
guys.
there's
It's
no school
just a
policy,
general
ma'am,
thing.
if it's not against school policy, it's not against the law, you're saying that he shouldn't have been under there. That's your
No, he knew
opinion.
that.
No,
He
ma'am.
knew that. He
No,
was
that's not breaking the rule.
instigating.
No, that's not breaking. That's not. No, first off,
Okay.
it's not. That's not. What you just say it was?
Instigating.
That's how is that instigating if it's not Austin's tent? It wasn't Austin's tent.
It was his team's tent.
The tent does not
You
belong
all
to him.
have your own team's
Ma'am.
tent that you stay
Ma'am.
under, sir.
Ma'am. This is a track meet. Multiple different schools are there.
Yeah,
It was,
you are
ma'am,
correct.
quiet. Be quiet when I'm speaking.
Excuse me.
Excuse you.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm the
go
host
ahead.
and I'm speaking. Okay,
Go ahead.
there are multiple tents there. There are kids there participating, and they go under different tents. There is no, and you can't bring up the fact that it's a school policy or against the law that he is under another tent. Now, maybe in practice, most teams go under their tent, but there's no rule against it. He's not violating a rule by being, it's an open tent. It's not even a secluded tent. It's an open tent, and it was raining out there. And that does not justify Austin putting his hands, which is what the twins said he did, putting his hands on Karmelo. Does it, ma'am? Does that?
You know what? You are
justify it?
correct. It does not. But I am telling.
Now, let me ask you another question. Hold on. Let me ask you
Okay,
another
go
question.
ahead.
Let me ask you
Yep.
another question.
Go ahead.
What do you think about this situation right here? What do you think about this situation with Kyle Rittenhouse and his judge? Do you think that his judge showed bias to Kyle Rittenhouse?
I don't.
You
No.
don't think that the judge showed bias? You don't think that it was
What
unbiased
the
for a
fuck?
judge to say? You don't think it was unbiased for a judge to say that the person that Kyle Rittenhouse unalived can't be referred to as victims in the courtroom? You don't think it's biased for a judge to say that all of Kyle Rittenhouse's videotaped aggression and background and him beating people up to show his character can't be brought into the courtroom? You don't think it's biased for a judge to say that the defendant can pick his own jury? You don't think that that's biased?
So why are we comparing
You
the
don't
two?
think, hold on, you don't think it's biased for a judge to completely throw out
No, I don't.
a gun? You don't
Because
think it's biased for a judge to throw out an illegal gun charge? You don't think that's biased?
You
Ma'am.
cannot compare these two.
No,
at all.
ma'am, no. You just said that you don't
Ma'am.
think that this judge was biased for Kyle Rittenhouse. So let's not.
No,
let's.
I don't. I
No,
don't.
we're not talking about Carmelo. We're
No,
talking
I
about
don't.
Kyle.
I
28
don't think
minutes
he
of me
was.
not saying a word.
I don't
don't know
think
if
he
I
was.
will.
The whole night of you not saying a word. You can go. 28 minutes. You see that? All that entitlement.
Go ahead. I mean, listen. Oh my
28
God.
minutes of
Yeah,
your
I
time.
mean, Afro, can I say something, please? Because I am fighting for my life.
Wait. One moment. You're going to have to fight a little longer. I want y'all to know, for all my FBA people who think the North is a cakewalk and there's no racism here, this lady said she's from upstate New York, and upstate in certain areas still fly Confederate flags. So this is a Karen in true life form. And one
A
buzzword she said,
Confederate
hold
flag?
on.
I've never
Hold
flown
on.
a
Your comprehension is off. I said in some places upstate they still, some houses still fly that. So anyway, she mentioned the word blacks before she cleaned it up. And the fact that she's a correction officer, and we see what happened to Robert Brooks, right? These are the things that we deal with as Black Americans. And so that's why I wanted to have a conversation with you, and my tone was low. I found you were being aggressive in the chat. I brought you up and still showed you respect. You're giving pushback. So you're here to only respond, which is kind of offensive. You're not really here to learn. How do we heal what's going on so we never have Carmelo or Austin in this same position again if you're unwilling to really be honest?
I want to respect all of the people's time, but I just want to say this lady, and this is something that they all come up and do. They all come up and I don't see race. I don't see color. I'm colorblind. Whites and blacks, we're all children of Jesus Christ. I love us all. We're all human beings. And then they immediately show bias towards the YT side. They all of them have the exact same playbook. They all come up here and start preaching about how race blind that they are and how they don't see color and how racism doesn't matter and we should all just get along and how their best friend in high school was black. They all do that. And then every single situation that you bring up, they always side with the YT person all the time. The fact that she just said that Kyle Rittenhouse's judge showed no bias at all, yet Karmelo, even though it's not against the rules for him to be under another tent, Karmelo was the aggressor because he was under another tent. Get it, ma'am. We're not even gonna do that. Give your final words. I'm gonna let you get your final words out. I'm gonna let you get your final words out, and then we're gonna keep on because you're not gonna hold up everybody. Go ahead. Go ahead. What's your name? I forgot your name.
Me too. My mermaid, you could say
Yeah.
your final submission, please.
If you don't want to say anything, that's fine. We can just get you out of here.
Well, can I just go ahead and respond to what she said, because she's completely contradictory. When she was down in the comments, she said it all with her chest, and then when she got up here, she tried to be very, very careful with her wording. For all the YT people that's getting ready to come up here and try to spew the same condescending bullcrap that she just did, let us be clear, because you people do not care about the facts. Y'all care about the fact that this is a black boy. We didn't make it about race. Y'all did. The parents almost hit, the twins' parents made it about race until all of their stuff started coming out. Okay, so let's be clear.
Yeah,
Karmelo was
so
supposed to be in the tent. It was a public event. He was on the roster, number one. So he had every right. And if the twins felt so however they felt a way about him being under there. Number one, it was raining. He had permission to go under there. He sat down, had his headphones on, minding his business. And then they felt so compelled, so bothered out of all the people in this tent. They went up to him. He gave a warning. Once they broke his phone, he was assaulted by these twins who were the aggressor. The one was the aggressor. And then he issued a warning, which is a stand your ground warning here in Texas. Hey, do not touch me. Don't put your hands on me, or so and so, so and so. You cannot dictate how a person chooses to defend themselves. That is number one. If you are walking down the street, or let's say, hell, you sitting there waiting on the bus to come, and somebody just comes up to you and decides that, hey, they don't feel like you belong there at that time. That gives you the right to put your hands on somebody. Y'all have a problem with accountability. If this was a YT boy on a YT boy, we wouldn't even have this out. We would have all of this outrage. If this was a black boy on a black boy, you wouldn't even have this outrage. It's so funny how y'all remain so silent when things happen. Let's, like you was talking about Kyle Rittenhouse, Trayvon, y'all don't say anything. Y'all go and y'all support y'all people no matter what. Y'all will stand by your people no matter what the situation is. And y'all are really upset. Let's just call a spade a spade. Y'all are mad, and you're going to get even more madder because he is going to walk away from this. Because I assure you that there is evidence out there that is going to prove that those twins were the aggressor. Karmelo was only 100 and something pounds, and you got two 250-pound twins standing over me. You damn right. I don't know what your mindset is. I don't know what you're going to do. So you're absolutely right. I'm going to defend myself. And it just so happens to be unfortunate that is what happened. But you people don't learn. And now y'all effed around and found out. This is an example. Nobody is taking your crap anymore. period. And for Miss Mermaid, who's been doing whatever for 20 years, my question to you would be, did the twins own the tent? Did they own it? Was it theirs? Y'all don't even take the time to read. Y'all just want to get up here because there's a YT boy that is no longer among us, and some dangerous black boy just came up and just he should have just went and told somebody. No, the twins should have
Now,
went and got somebody.
yeah,
Okay.
they should have, but and I want to say that's absolutely. And notice when I said, okay, is it against school policy? Because she knows she's wrong. Is it against school policy? Oh, well, no, there's no school policy. Is it
Okay.
against the law? No, it's not against the law. Oh, so you making it up. This
Yep.
is you making up rules so he can be in the wrong. Let's get to
Yep.
Ray.
Yeah.
And then we'll
So
keep going. I appreciate everybody's patience.
how you doing, Afro Elite? I'm happy to be on this live again. I'm always eager to be a part of your panel whenever you have a live. So like, what I want to ask to the white tea folks, if the roles were reversed, right? Let's say that if Carmelo put his hands on Austin Metcalf, and Austin Metcalf did everything in his power to defend himself, and it will result to Carmelo's demise. I'm willing to bet that every conservative outlet, including Fox News, the Daily Wire, Daily Wire, can talk, even Ben Shapiro, silly behind, punk silly racist behind, will be defending Austin Metcalf for defending himself, against Carmelo Anthony. Okay, because right now I see like a lot of conservative outlets, a lot of media outlets. Right now they are persecuting and basically just tearing down Carmelo Anthony for doing what any American would do. Okay, and the reason why they're doing that is because we live in a society where little black boys and little black girls are perceived to be as kids. I realized that I looked at this study. It's called the American Psychology Association, that little children, black children, are perceived as adults at the age of 13 or as young as 10, because by the time they get to a adolescent age, they become more threatening, they become less innocent, and actually more perceived to be more violent by the time they enter into adolescent age. Okay, so they have an expectation to be held accountable for their actions whenever they mess up, but at the same time, their white tea counterparts who are the same age of them have the benefit to be forgiven, to be given amnesty whenever they mess up. Like, look it up. It is an absolute fact that our little black children, our little black girls and little black boys, are perceived to be adults whenever they enter into adolescent age. Okay, so when you see a black kid like Carmelo Anthony, right? They expect him to hold himself accountable for his actions. But if the roles were reversed, right, they wouldn't expect Austin Metcalf to be held accountable for his actions. They'd be like, "Oh, that sweet innocent little white tea boy, he was just defending himself from that thug Carmelo Anthony who raised him that way." No, it was the absolute fact that our black boys and black girls have always been perceived as adults, even as young as 10. Okay, so that's all I have to say. You know what I'm saying? So I'm actually, I'm happy that Carmelo Anthony is, free. No, because if the roles were reversed, every white tea outlet, every conservative outlet would be celebrating for Austin Metcalf for his victory if he was released. You know what I'm saying? Thank you.
Yep. Yep. All right. Appreciate that. Now let's get to we'll get to Ricky. Ricky Man.
What's going on? B1 South Carolina in the house. How you doing?
B1, brother. I'm good. How you doing?
Man, I'm chilling. Let me tell you a secret real quick. And I want every melanated person in this room to know what I'm about to say. I'm laying my cards on the table. I've been grifting on this app for 5 years. I understand how these people think. All I had to do was play stupid and they would call me a free thinker.
Mm.
And with that being said, anytime you argue with them or, they come on like they're having a friendly debate, but they're not having a friendly debate. They keep moving the goalposts because they get off on watching people get worked up trying to reason with them. They understand reasoning. They just keep moving the goalpost. These people are dumb. Like, seriously, there's no way to, I wish there was any other synonym that I could think of that could, tell you how dumb these people are. But yeah, they're dumb. They're going to keep moving the goalposts. They come into rooms like this, and that's what they call world-class trolling, where they know that people are going to give them pushback. You come at them with common sense. When you catch them in checkmate, then they'll come out saying victims or we're all the same, one race, the human race. But then whenever they want to get their dog whistle language, that's when they hit you up with all of these statistics that can be easily debunked. What is it? Most single moms, highest violent crime, the commits the most high violent crime per capita, all that mess. But yeah, I'm just being honest with you. When you sit here and go back and forth with them, they're actually getting off on it.
Mm. Yeah, well, you're right. They're dumb. They are some dumb people. You got to mute yourself as you're coming up. I'm going to allow people to come up, but as you're coming up, mute yourself as you're coming up. I want to get to now, let's get to Real American. Not Jedi, mute yourself. Real
Hello,
American.
everyone.
How you doing?
Goodness, I hope I'm not going to be bashed on here because I'm white tea on the way that I think. But so right off the bat, I feel like teenagers are just stupid as hell. All of them are. They just are. They make mistakes. Rittenhouse, how old was he?
He was the same age.
Okay, that joker went looking for trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I feel like him and everybody else that were on the streets with their pals should have been put away.
Okay.
Regardless, they should not have been vandalized. Nobody should have been vandalizing. It just that shit should never happen in the first place. So my question is, why is everybody so concerned that it was over a tent? Because first off, unless that tent said that no other kids from no other school could be sitting under that tent is different, and that was not on that tent. Okay, that boy was getting out of the rain regardless. Now, do I think that somebody should have been unalived? No. I feel like there were adults there that should have taken care of the situation immediately. If this were to happen at a gas station, it's the same thing, except for there weren't going to be people there from the school as adults, as teachers and principals or coaches or whatever else that actually could have stopped. If they knew these boys were trouble, they actually could have stopped. Now, I just Googled it to make sure it was true before I came up on here. One thing that bothers me, and me as a white tea, y'all on the panel is black tea, whatever we want to call it. I would definitely, if there was a GoFund account and I was getting money for my child, that would be going towards, because he's going to need it. This kid is going to need it. I don't care if it was Austin, vice versa, whatever happened. That kid is going to need every single penny for legal fees, regardless of who thinks he is guilty, who doesn't think he's guilty. The DA is going to think he's guilty. So he's going to have to fight the DA on this thing. Every single penny matters. And it did say, when I Googled it, that his parents bought a $420,000 house. I would not do that. Every single penny. If I had to move somewhere because I was getting death threats, I could move somewhere if the courts are allowing it. Now, that could be an issue. The courts have got to allow it. So if they had to buy something in Frisco, I get that. But you don't have to buy a $420,000 house.
Hold on. They bought a house recently.
Yes, they just did. Google it.
Okay.
Yes, Google it because I want to make sure I'm not wrong on it. But I Googled it, and yes, they just purchased a $420,000 house out of the GoFund money, and that
Man,
right there
what is
No,
the
really
ma'am.
rental
is.
They've
market
been
like?
at the house.
Wait.
No,
What
ma'am.
are the
Hold on.
rental
It's my
houses
turn.
like? Like,
That
what's the
really
market
surprised me.
like? Because you know, in America, everything is not so cut and dry. I would love a new home. I would love to relocate and get a new house. But
Absolutely, but not with a
I'm
kid.
saying that the what's the market like in that city where they bought
Girl,
the home?
Frisco is very expensive, but there are
So
also two hundred
why you
thousand dollar houses. You ain't got to buy no
uh,
four. I'm in Texas. You don't have to buy four. I
okay?
don't need, nope. Yeah, no. What's it say,
Okay.
host?
So I just want to say that may be your opinion because they do. It could depend on how many bedrooms, family size,
Well,
who's
they
going to
need
be
that
living with
money.
them.
They
You
need that
know.
money to take care of their child to not go to jail.
Yeah, they got it. They're gonna get it. They're gonna get it. The community is
Okay,
gonna make
well,
sure.
you
So
wait
we
and
can
buy
move
a house
past that.
after it's done,
We
and
could
he's
we can move
okay.
past that. You know, we can because the
The
housing
house was
market is
already
really,
bought,
you know,
child.
is
I don't know where
crazy.
she
Well,
getting that.
here's the thing. Here's
That's
the
Okay.
thing.
bull.
I'm
What's
looking
it
at
say,
it.
host?
I just googled it right now, and you said that the family, if they did that, they used the donate. Did you say the family used
Yeah,
donation?
it said what I googled, and it was Al something. I googled and it was Al something that the family purchased a $420,000 house. Pull up the kid's name and put in there Google. Did his parents buy a house from GoFund? And it will come up, and it'll say $420,000. I'm saying they can do what they want to with the money. If that makes them feel better, whatever. But take care of your baby first.
I mean,
Well,
he's
he
home,
made
so he's being
fine.
taken care of. I'm
Yeah,
looking at
that's
it.
what I'm saying.
It's a lot of like kind of like the right wing conspiracy stuff. So they
Uh,
always be putting like twists on it, like Fox News and all them.
Oh,
They
I haven't been on Fox News.
always they always putting twists and stuff like that on it. But
So it's
the
not true.
GoFundMe page was
Afro Elite, that
here's
is
my
not
thing.
true.
The GoFundMe page did not raise the money necessary to buy this house. So for the
Facts.
people saying that they used the GoFundMe money to buy the house, that can't be true because the GoFundMe was closed 2 days before, like two or
Blocked
three
it.
days
Remember
before, and
Afro Elite?
it didn't raise this much money.
It was
So this
blocked.
must be their own money.
Okay, so sir, excuse me. Hi everyone.
How you doing? You know
So
something
I
about this
just
situation she's
Yes,
talking about?
I just wanted to address what she said. She that what she just said is not true. They've been living there for a couple of years now. As a matter of fact, they did not use that GoFundMe money to pay for his to purchase that house. They've been living there for a couple of years now. His dad is a lawyer and mom is a nurse. They can afford housing. Matter of fact, they can't even access that money yet because it's such a large amount. It won't even let them have access to it yet.
Correct.
So
Okay,
no, ma'am.
my
She
bad.
wait a minute. Hold on,
My
ma'am.
bad. My
Ma'am,
bad.
ma'am, wait. We have to show each other respect. Ma'am, I don't know what you Google. Google is not always true. These people is very respectful and they got some business about themselves. They did not take that money and purchase that house. They've been living there for at least 2 years now. No, they can't even access the money because it's a large amount. So I don't know. Please don't spread that. Please do not
Well, there's
spread
all
that.
kinds of rumors being spread. I brought that up, but I do apologize if that's not true, and that makes
That's
me
not
feel
true.
better
They was
because
living there way before. Ma'am,
he's
they
going to
had
need
their
the
house
money.
way before now.
I was screaming that from the mountaintops. That's why I was saying that was not
I
true.
was
The
itching to get
house
up here
had
to say that. I'm
already been
sorry, but that's not
No,
purchased.
I'm
true.
glad. I said I apologize. I'm
And even
glad.
if it was, whatever they decided to do, these people have already proven, and that was the thing. The parents are very successful. So I
Thank
don't
you.
think that
Yes, ma'am.
they
Hallelujah.
they are still extremely successful.
Come
That
on now,
has
preach,
been
sister. Come
purchased.
on
They
now.
had
That's
never
great.
used any money. They just came out and said today that they could not even access it when they asked the
Yes,
parents,
because it's a
why
yes.
didn't they use the money to bail him out of jail? They said because it's $400,000. We can't even get all of that the way the GoFundMe is set up.
There you
So
go.
no,
There you
ma'am.
go.
No,
Yes,
Oh
ma'am.
ma'am.
no, that's great. I wanted to make sure that money was going towards him. So I didn't know his parents were very wealthy. So that's great.
But see, that's why
But
you have
I
that's
do
why
feel
you
like
have to have your facts when you come speaking things. That's why you have to have the facts, because you know somebody else could have took that and ran with it, and next thing you know they're hollering, well, you know, they took the money and bought the house off of your accusation, which is not true. His parents is well off.
that's why I apologize. So, hey, I get that, and I'm glad about that. But I don't know who the other two people are underneath those two that are on the panel when y'all are talking. Not those
These
two.
two, the judges.
Oh, is that? Did
This
the
is the
other?
judge. This is the judge. This is Judge Tucker,
Uh
Judge
huh.
Angelina Tucker. She's the one who lowered the bail, which allowed him to go free. And then this is the judge, Bruce. His last name is Scrumer. Scrumer, I think it is. Um, and he pretty much was the defense attorney judge for Kyle Rittenhouse.
Okay,
And I'm calling out the hypocrisy there.
so his judge. I feel like when they took it from 1 million to 250, that shows right there that there are a lot of mixed things that a lot of people don't know about for that baby boy to go home.
Okay. Yeah.
And I just wanted to
I
add,
appreciate
Leo.
that.
I don't
But
know. I'm
we got to
sorry.
keep the panel flowing.
Afro, did you know that the evidence, another thing that helped him, the reason why they had to lower the bond is because there was tampering of evidence with his backpack with the police. There was a lot of tampering of evidence. There was a lot of things that was done incorrectly that Karmelo's attorney was able to present when they was doing their investigation. Oh, and for the record, Karmelo was already a hero because they were trying to block the fact that Karmelo saved that little boy who had drowned.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
know he did that.
Yeah, he did. I
No.
appreciate that. Let's get to now. We can keep because I definitely want to keep the flow of the room. There's a lot of people who want to come up and
Yeah,
speak.
I know.
So,
I understand. And
yeah.
thank y'all for figuring that out for me. And I do apologize again.
All right. All right. Okay. Let's get to Thomas. Thomas, you got it, brother.
Yeah, peace. I only came up because I wanted to dismantle Miss Mermaid
Mm-hmm.
because of some things that she was sitting there saying about, you know what I mean, because her profession, you know, and my ribs was broken when I was 18 years old by correctional officers, and punctured my one of the bones punctured my lungs. So, at 18. So I just wanted to know basically from her, even though that we're gonna move on from this, is basically like when things like that happen, when it be 12 officers on one prisoner jumping on them with handcuffs on their body when they kids and stuff like that. Do she try to defend us, the black kid, or any prisoner, or do she just turn her head and walk away and go on about her business? But she not up here to answer that. So we gonna move on. But
Oh, she's still down there. She's still down there.
yeah, but yeah, okay. But I'm happy to see that he got released. Because I like I told you before, I believe that he was overcharged, one. Two, it's still facts that need to be brought out that's we not gonna probably see or get until the trial begins and stuff like that, and they put it and make it national or whatever. I would really want to see the video because I know his video's there, but right now it's so secretive right now when they trying to dispute certain things. But I'm quite sure that the judge seen it as well as the DA saw the videos. That's how come they lowered his bail.
Exactly.
So I'm grateful that he's out, but he still got a long way to go.
Yes.
Mentally, that destroyed a good kid.
And Thomas, I had mentioned before that I hope the parents, while they're all together, that they keep an eye on him 110%, because I mean, even though I could not even imagine going through what he is, or the awesome family or whatever, but we don't want this kid to hurt himself.
Right.
Well,
Right.
hopefully we don't.
Because
But we got his back. We definitely
one
got his back.
second, but
I'm talking about his.
Khalif
I'm
Browder.
not talking about that. I'm talking about physically.
No,
Yeah,
listen,
I know what you're
we
talking
got
about.
Khalif Browder, so hopefully, that things he'll be going to see somebody, but he's not free. That's what we gotta understand. He's just not behind bars. But once they put that ankle bracelet on you, that's a different type of hell. You know what I'm saying? So he definitely needs different types of support from each other. I mean, from just not from his home, but from his community and from people that knows and loves him. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I
definitely.
agree.
With that,
Can I say
I'm,
this
I'm gonna fall back.
real fast?
Right.
Thank you, Thomas. I'm sorry, but while we do have white people on the panel, right? So this isn't my demographic when I'm hosting my lives, but there's some problematic things I see in the comments, and I just want to address the victim card, right? So America was basically founded and built off of racism, and I don't think anybody could deny that. I don't appreciate being called a victim when my people are still victimized. Can I remind y'all that we still have Black Americans being strange fruited in the South, and in the North, we still suffer from things like police brutality. I don't want to mention names, may they all rest in peace, because I'm starting to feel like we're tokenizing them. In a sense, but that victim card, if y'all really unpack your inherent racism, you will see that we are still being victims. So you can't tell a victim that they are being victimized if they're still being victimized. Does that make sense?
Well, I still also think
Not
that there
you,
was
not you.
somebody that was
Afro Elite, thank
unalive.
you for having me, bro. And I appreciate it.
Thank you,
Anytime I
Thomas.
can come up on the panel with you, bro. All
Okay,
right. Have a
appreciate
good
you, Tom.
have a good one. I'm still be listening though.
Appreciate
Yeah.
you.
I feel like on what she was just saying, the bottom line is there's still a victim here that is a teenage boy, and all teenagers, I don't give a shit if you're
Right.
15 or you're
See,
17,
I
they are
understand.
all stupid, and there was a big
Gotta get
mistake
it out.
done, and that's what the courts are going to be handling. That's where it's all going to come out.
Okay,
Right.
but
So I never lost sight of that. What I said was there's some problematic things, and since I have your demographic of people here on this panel, I wanted to give them another outlook on why that victim word, when they say victim card, and even when they say the race card, those were the cards that we were dealt in life. Once we were captured and brought here and forth on these lands, right? Those are the two cards that we were dealt, and the rest we had to fight for. I mean, we're still fighting for it. So I just wanted to remind people that you cannot say that people are playing the victim card if that was the hand they were dealt. And then I gave you examples. Police brutality, we had the correction officer in the chat who's from New York. We just know that a young black man, a father at that, was unalived at the hands of correction officers. They were white, he was black American. And then in the South, we have black Americans being strange fruited. If you don't know, that's the Lyncg word. So it's not to diminish or take away and say that Austin wasn't a victim or that Carmelo isn't a victim. It's not to, say who's a victim in that case. I just wanted to address some things. But I have white tea demographics among you. That's all. That's all. Afro, was I wrong? You know?
no. No, you're not. But we're gonna continue. We're definitely gonna continue with the conversation. We are, because we are in that mode, and they act like they don't know, but they do. Let me get to Jedi. Jedi, you can unmute yourself.
Okie doke, thanks. First off, I'd like to say I've been in several of these panels all day, and they've been wildly interesting. First and foremost, from not just hearing everybody talking this evening in yours, but the previous 2 or 3 hours in a day, nobody is going to know anything until what do kids do when kids get in fights? They whip out their cell phones. Nobody's going to really know, and hopefully they get those cell phone videos unmessed with. Hopefully they got the kids' cell phones up and nobody erased nothing, and did it because that's going to tell the truth. Another thing what tells me the truth is how the parents of the white kid, and they put that white kid on TV right away. And what they did is they put him on TV, and the kid gave two separate statements. He gave one TV interview where he made it sound like, they went up and hassled him and stuff went on for them. And then they gave another one where made it sound like they were already sitting underneath the tent, and Karmelo came and sat it behind him and started. That's wildly different. That's wildly different. And if you got to lie, you're wrong. And I think a lot of people in all the other panels I was in were leapfrogging over the fact that these kids instigated, then escalated violence 2-on-1. The 2-on-1 gives that kid the right to take the weapon out. A big factor was, should he have had it at school? Legal mumbo jumbo, this and that. I think that's why that prosecutor bonded him out. And I think that's why that prosecutor is going to offer him a deal for manslaughter. I don't think when you're attacked by two people, that those kids are the victims that attack you. Nothing happens if those kids, and I've heard every excuse in the book that they were given authority by the teachers at the school to go tell people what to do, nonsense. That they had a right to go tell him to move out into the rain because they're worried about material possessions. You shouldn't be bringing that kind of what was there, $5,000 in cash in purses, and to steal a cell phone nowadays, that's laughable. You can't use it. Same with cards. You need to know a PIN number. So what kind of thievery was he going to be up to? Another thing, they were really trying to paint him as this villainous murderer. If that was the case, he would have went in there, hunted that boy down. He would have went and found them and just stabbed that kid if he wanted that to happen. He
Find
acted out
somebody
of
with some sense.
self-defense.
Come on now. Come on, somebody with some sense.
And
Oh my
I listen to
God.
white people, Republicans. I listened, and this is what was even sadder was black Republicans defending those white boys. Now I don't know how they got them up here running these groups, but the TikTok has turned sinister. It has turned sinister right wing. And so I was more blown away by that than anything. But the mere fact of it is that they had no authority. They approached him, and when they lied on TV, that's the best thing they ever gave that defense. Because that defense now has the surviving brother giving two conflicting statements on live TV. And why did they jump out
Bingo.
on TV?
Bingo.
Damage control.
Bingo.
Damage control. They jumped out on TV to try to smear that other black kid. And look who actually had the good family. The white kids had the broken home. The
That
black kids
part.
had the most successful parents. But they tried to paint him as a thug because they
That
knew
part.
they were wrong and they knew they instigated it and escalated it. And you know who is going to end up getting charged out of this? That brother. That
Yeah.
brother is going to end up getting charged, taking a manslaughter charge too, because in the act of a crime, somebody died. That immediately makes it, if it's a misdemeanor, it ups it to a felony. If somebody dies and you're
Okay,
committing a
okay. I don't want to
misdemeanor,
You
stop you,
gotta.
but you got to watch the language. I'm with you. I'm with you. But on TikTok, and you may be new to TikTok, you got to use code words here. It's very
yeah, like you got to
elementary.
say
So,
schmurder and
yeah,
pokey and
yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
even
Thank
I didn't
you.
even understand what I said. That was wrong if I said, uh,
It's
but
okay. It's okay.
but
I
but
get it.
but the main thing I've been frustrated about all day in these groups is people leapfrogging over the fact and they want to talk about looking at that boy's picture and just giving an instant judgment. I live in Lincoln, and I looked at this picture, and they were visiting the university here. They look like the most awful white privileged bully demons you ever seen. Look at the picture of them hunting their hunting rifles. You could easily turn that back around on them, and none of it's being done. And so the demonization of that kid right off the get go. If my brother just got stabbed, they forced him to get on TV. Are you really feeling like getting on TV when you witness something that ghoulish and stuff? No 17-year-old kid is. The dad made him. The dad said, "You and your dumb brother started this shit. You need to get on TV and start crying and make it look like y'all were the victims, or we're in deep shit." And so that's what I think. Or there was something personal going on. I think what if Carmelo and Austin were trying to go after the same gal? And he's like was expecting him and his brother to roll up on him at the track meet and have that knife laying in wait. That could change everything to making him premeditated. And I mean that's a whole different angle, and hope, I mean, that's more that'll come out in trial. So between the videos that all those kids have, there was another really good statement that a parent gave on a video I watched, whether I know if it was 100% true or not, that kind of said, they just rolled up, grabbed his stuff, hit him in the head, and he turned around, stabbed him, and ran off. And that kind of sounds like a pretty good synopsis from both sides if you want to take each with a grain of salt and work them together. What happened there? They asked him nicely stuff. I'm sure that didn't happen. They grabbed his bag and yanked it away from him. There's another that's stealing off your person. But that'll help his self defense case. as
I
well.
feel like Jetty just said something
Thank you.
so important. Let me say this. I think he said something so important that nobody's thought about. This kid that Austin went after, you cannot tell me there were not more kids from the other school under that tent because it was raining. So why did he focus on this one person? Does that make sense? Like, why
Yes,
did
and that's a good
Austin
point. But we're
focus
gonna
on one person?
yes, and that's a good point because they didn't have any type of
They say they didn't.
authority to remove him.
Oh no, that. Yeah, I'm
So
sorry. I'm
Jedi,
sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna let you get a like 20 seconds to land, and then we're gonna move on to the next speaker.
Okie doke. Yeah, I mean that's about it. Here's the deal. Those two kids could have tossed him around. I don't know if you ever fought on stadium steps. I have. You can hit your head real easy. You can throw down him. You can lose your balance. They could have easily have killed him and broke his neck and done the same thing.
You can't say the KIL. You
Oh,
can't say that.
they could have injured him, gravely injured him, and unalived him, throwing him around on those steps. Absolutely. Could he use the knife to back them up and run to try to scare him? Yeah, I mean that's what he should have done. I just think it sounds such a crime, like a it was so emotional that to me I'm just guessing it had to be over a girl or some other sideways stuff because rationale they both really escalated that fast. You know what I mean? Those twins rolled up on him and then he pulls a knife and does that. There was some previous stuff between those kids that they will
Okay,
find out in
now
trial.
I gotta
Well,
just you keep dropping
listen.
the
What we're
K
gonna
word
do?
and
Hold on.
stuff, but
Oh,
yeah.
What we're gonna do is we're not going to use the panel to push out any if that becomes a fact, then we'll go with that. But
yeah,
as of
total
right now,
speculation.
both sides have claimed that there was no previous interaction. They did go to two different schools. So, unless it's, and sometimes it happens where your girlfriend goes to another school, but these two, Karmelo and Austin, went to two different schools. So it is a good chance that they didn't know each other. This is what all of the records are saying that there was no previous interaction. They didn't know even of each other prior to that moment. So we can theorize that on the low, but let's just stick to what it has been proven right here and right now that they didn't know each other.
And
But
you know what? Oh, sorry.
hold on, Lieutenant, because we what's his name? Lieutenant hasn't spoken. He's been waiting for a minute, and I want other people want to speak as well too. So I want to allow everybody to get a chance to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, and another thing, the prosecution might try to throw a deal. He shouldn't take it. No deals. He should take this all the way to trial.
Because if even in a trial, they could still find him guilty of manslaughter too. The jury could decide, say, "Hey, this kid fought the murder case, but we still don't find him, guilty of murder." The jury can do that on their own. They can lower it to manslaughter, and I hope that's what they do if he does, because then he has a good chance. Go ahead and throw your dice and try to beat that
But
and get
hold
acquitted.
on. I
And then
don't
if
know if I
not,
agree
Well,
with that because what if
Okay,
they
wait, wait,
what
wait,
if
wait,
they
wait,
told
wait,
him
wait,
not
wait.
to do
One
it?
moment, one moment. It's late, and we want to give everybody a voice. And I really think Jedi. He's You see the contrast there? We had the mermaid lady who didn't see color, but everybody else was right, and Carmela was wrong. And then we have Jedi, who could say that Austin, he didn't own the tent.
all right.
So, but no speculation, guys. And we want to keep the flow going. I remind you to use TikTok friendly words. Click the heart by Afro Elite's name during the team. Push the live into the rankings if you like the discussion, and we can move on to the next. And real American and Jedi. Hopefully, you'll get to submit some more submissions or thoughts after everybody else on the panel gets another go around, get their
All
go
right.
around. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Afro.
Okay, Lieutenant, you can go ahead.
Thank you, host, for having me up. Appreciate you guys for having me. I feel as though it wasn't self-defense. It wasn't his team's tent. They have tents set up for both teams to keep gear dry. He could have easily sat underneath his to avoid a wet seat. I'd like to bring up the fact that it was no longer raining when the altercation took place. the rain had stopped for several minutes and Karmelo just wanted to get underneath the tent where dry seats were. Respectfully so. I agree with that. I would also like to say that I wish that these boys could have came to an agreement verbally, and I wish Austin would have said, hey man, we'll move some gear around so you can sit down here if your tent's preoccupied with multiple people. No one wants to sit in a wet seat, but ultimately, I mean, you grab
So
something.
let me ask you, and so we can be clear, perfectly clear, about where you stand. You feel like because it wasn't his team's tent makes it not self-defense?
No. What makes it not self-defense is
Because
the
that's originally
state.
what you said when you first came in, is that it wasn't
Okay,
his
well,
team's
I'm just trying to answer your question, host.
tent. Okay.
Uh, what makes it not self-defense is the fact that he reached into his bag before any physical altercation took place and said, touch me and find out what happens. That then brings it to premeditation. That doesn't make a self-defense, and self-defense is usually brought up when when you're trying to get away.
Okay.
When you're walking away from somebody or trying to de-escalate a situation and that person goes and does something to physically harm you or something of that nature, you don't go on a physical stance and reach in your bag and say, touch me and find out what happens.
Okay. So you're saying that that Carmelo reached into his bag before he was touched.
Correct.
Well, that's not what the arrest record said. That's not what the police said happened.
What's the police report? Where's the police report
The
that can
arrest
be read
report's
that
out.
you
It's
got
all
that
over the internet.
information from?
The arrest report is over the internet. Now, let me ask you another question. Are you saying that Austin was not the aggressor in this situation? Let me ask you, just who was the aggressor in the situation, Austin or Carmelo?
I would probably say I'd have to agree with myself and stand by my point. Karmelo was the instigator here.
He instigated the situation, so Austin didn't instigate the situation.
No, he told him to move and go to his team's tent. That
Did
tent was
Austin put his
dedicated for
hands?
that
Did
track team.
Austin did Austin put his hands on Carmelo?
No, but he's reached into his
No,
bag.
you saying he did
He
not.
reached
You
into
saying
his
he didn't.
bag, and
Hold on, sir.
we
We're
can
having a
also
discussion.
go and say
Back and
that.
forth. Hold on, no. Because then when they start lying, they keep on talking and not let you really catch them up. So you're saying Austin did not put his hands on Carmelo. That's a fact that he didn't do that.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all.
Okay, so did Austin, yes or no, put his hands on Carmelo?
Yes.
Does that not make him the aggressor in the
I
situation?
mean that I wasn't physically there. I didn't visibly see it, and the video evidence wasn't released yet.
Who
But
were
from what the
the
reports
people,
have been
sir?
said,
No, the people who, because if you weren't physically there, you said it stopped raining for several minutes, but you're not physically there. So you're not physically there when Austin's in the wrong, but you know all the facts when you want to say Carmelo's on the wrong. It's interesting how that works. Now, all of the witnesses, by all accounts, say Austin put his hands on Carmelo prior to Carmelo reaching in the bag. The reaching in the bag and grabbing the tool out the bag was a response to being assaulted, essentially, by Austin.
the physical assault doesn't equate to a grab.
No. No. When before we even get to that part, was Austin the aggressor in the situation? Because originally you said he wasn't.
No.
So putting your hands on somebody doesn't make you an aggressor.
Nope.
Okay, you see, now they just trolling
Yeah,
that.
see, now
So
he's
does
I'm
saying
not
that.
honest.
trolling. I'm
No,
just
So
no,
does
staying on
honest.
the.
You're wasting our time. See,
hell no.
then they just start to troll. Because when you catch
And
them
he
up,
was
now
drunk.
nope, putting your hands, nope. Nah, we ain't got
Yeah,
to.
I
See,
agree.
he's essentially the debate is gone.
He
He
was
can't
there when
even
he
debate
knew how
no
much
more.
rain
He
was
can't
going
do
on.
nothing no more. He lost. That's essentially him rage quitting. That's him being like, ha ha, like pretty much. Yeah, we ain't.
It goes to show
Yeah.
once again that they will ignore crucial information. It doesn't matter that he put his hands on Carmelo, is basically what he's saying. It's again the fact that this boy done unalived one of our people and he should be punished. He couldn't even get it all the way out. He knew exactly what he was doing. He's a walking, talking, breathing contradiction. Because
And
that's all
the
he
dull
did.
ones like that aren't the scary ones. It's some of the smarter ones I've seen earlier on today that are the ones that are on here lying and saying they're lawyers and sounding and acting like it. And boy, they are arguing all this stuff except they're leapfrogging over who started it, just like that dull guy was doing too. And here's the guy that I argued with the guy the same point that sounded like he was from Yale, and they both acted the same. They both got cornered in. Both didn't know what to do. Oh goodness, yeah, it's frustrating. Yeah, that was frustrating to hear somebody be right there to see everything when they knew about the rain, but then all of a sudden, I don't know. He had a couple too
You
many
know,
martinis tonight.
With the
you know
second
what,
he said
host?
that, I was all like, oh, okay. So now you're gonna start making stuff up. You're making stuff up. It has stopped raining for several minutes, and he was. Yeah, I'm like, okay.
You know what,
He's not
host?
gonna have a problem.
I would really like to tell your panelists a quick story about why I think like I think, if you don't mind.
Well, we got
I
other
would
people
like
who
to say
want to
something
speak first,
first,
real quick. So
please.
we got to get to everybody.
May I please?
Go ahead, Mel.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I want to say, gosh, I'm getting so tired. I hope I can remember. First of all, I want to say thank you, Afro Elite, for the work that you've been doing on the reparations front. I've been following you. I'm like a long time listener, first time caller kind of thing. But other than that, God, all the things that I'm hearing it's really just goes to show you how people will just take bits of information like Sweetie mentioned earlier, where you're not getting facts. You're just regurgitating whatever you heard on whatever news outlet or whatever secondhand, third hand, fourth hand, and then just running with it, and then have the nerve to come on a panel and repeat it as if intelligent people like the ones that are in this panel aren't going to challenge it. It's like an insult to one's
Everybody's off their mic.
intelligence.
Everybody got to mute up because there's a background.
So yeah, so the lieutenant guy and Miss what was it her name, Mermaid, I just really wanted to know what she does for victims in the penal system, but I'm sure I know the answer to that. It's probably nothing. So this whole thing about, oh, everything is equal, everybody, we don't see any color. Like you said, Afro Elite, I've seen people come onto spaces and say that over and over and over again. And then by the time they're done making their comments, they're heated, they got so much vitriol, and they're basically just, suspected WSs, if you know where I'm coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just irritating. It's very irritating, but I just listen and I'm just kind of like, okay, here we go again. Like you just know the drill. It's like the same little like rinse and repeat type of thing over and over. So, I try not to even really be irritated because I know when it's coming. Soon as I hear someone start off their comments, I know where it's going to end up. But another thing I want to say, really more on the legal side, is that, do you remember like with the Ahmaud Arbery case? It was a very high profile case, and of course it was having to do with race, like all of these cases are. But in the courtroom, there's a delicate kind of maneuvering, and there's a certain ability that defense attorneys need to have in cases like this to be able to argue them, because there's so much public opinion surrounding race, and so they have to find their place in their arguments with the law and the facts. And that's what I wish people would try to focus on, because you just took that guy through a battery. this lieutenant guy, of exactly what the types of questions and the factual basis that would be pointed out in this case in the upcoming what if it goes to trial, which I have a feeling that it will. And that's the kind of thing, those are the kinds of things that I look for. All these people talking about what he should have done, what he shouldn't have done. You don't know, because you don't know what his state of mind. It's about his state of mind in the legal sense. So nobody can really say. I mean, we know by the amount of facts that we have right now is that it definitely is a self defense situation. But what I'm saying is what he felt he had to do to protect himself. Only he has that state of mind to say why he had to take the action that he took, if you understand what I'm saying. And then also there's going to be things like jury selection and jury instructions. And I think if the case gets, down to these very, very fine facts in terms of the prosecution trying to dream up facts, which is usually what they do in cases like this, is that you pretty much at the end of the day would have to close your eyes. You have a set as a jury, okay, with jury instructions. You basically are closing your eyes and saying what this person's action did, how does it align with the law? And most of these cases fall in the area of self-defense. But the problem is when it's someone who's Black.
Yeah, that's very true. Otherwise, I mean, this is a cut and dry, really situation. Tragic as it is. It's a tragic situation for both families. But the rules, the law is the law. Self defense is self defense, no matter how tragic the situation is. But because of racism, people are trying to change the definition of self defense because they don't want him to be able to, the situation to benefit him in self defense. Because when he's Black, now self defense be damned. We're gonna change the rules on you. That's how they're operating with this situation. All right. That's exactly how they're operating. So thank you. Were you done? I didn't want to cut you off. Were you finished? And then after that, we'll get to Denzel. I'm pointing like y'all can see me. We'll get to Denzel after that.
Well, yeah, the only thing I want to say is that, like the Rittenhouse case, so it's like night and day. You see the judge. We know that that judge. How is it that it just never, like, how is it that you can, only because of when, like you said, this selective kind of memory of like, oh, okay, yes, that there's a principle there. Oh, there's a morality there. Oh, there's a law. There's something that is supposed to designate right between wrong. But then the difference between right and wrong automatically flips when it's on the other side. I mean, the picture that you have there on your background is showing you, it is showing you how the flip side is like one coin, you turn it over and it has a whole different value to it, because now the judge is the jury, I swear that judge was he was the jury, he was the prosecutor, he was the DA, he was everything. He played every single role in the courtroom. Oh no, don't let this in. Oh, we're not going to let that in. It wasn't even like a trial. That's not a trial. So we know that it's just downright bullshit when, excuse my language, I'm sorry, that when people try to pretend like they don't see that, it's like this little game. And we see through you. If for some crazy reason that you think we don't see, we see through the game. And I'm just so tired of the gaslighting. It's just so stupid. But anyway, that's all I have to say.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Well, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. We definitely see through it. I want to get you, Denzel. You got it.
I just wanted to come up here just to say something, and then I was going to bounce out. I'm not trying to make this a monologue, but I just wanted to say that I think that white supremacy is literally a venom in this country and throughout the world, and I just think that along with white privilege is what fueled the real American to come up and to immediately say, "Well, I hope you're not going to bash me because I'm a white tea person," and then immediately get into the situation of where she looked for any reason to kind of make Karmelo wrong while also trying to appear to be an ally. I just want to be clear when I say this is that we don't have, as black people, we are not owned by white people. We don't have to do anything according to how white people feel. I don't like, and I'm sick and tired of this ownership mindset. So we have to live in their box. At the end of the day, it is ridiculous to even come up here and even say something like that in a pull that from the depths of Google. And I was literally I googled it and this said it. And you get up here and you say that, and then there's people who are racist in the comments who are going to take this information, run with it, in it, and then it becomes something that's a lot bigger than what it is. And I'm sick of it. Like truly, and I don't know who you are as a person, and I don't know if you claim to be an ally or not, but you need to really check that behavior. And that's not even just for you; that's for all white people who are claiming to be allies, because that is just as harmful as just calling somebody the N-word. It's harmful.
So let me stand my ground with that. I did apologize, and it does take somebody big to apologize. But I can tell you, you don't know that I have a story kind of like this.
But
and I'd like
ma'am,
to share
listen,
that.
wait a minute. Hold on.
Respectfully,
You apologize, but you shouldn't have never did that, because now it's people in the chat, and I'm sorry to interrupt, because I'm not like that. I'm sorry for interrupting, sir. But it's people, and I took that to heart, because now it's people in the comments stating that Melo's parents took the money and purchased that home. How in the world? Please tell me how they purchased a $420,000 home in Frisco. Wait. No, ma'am, stop. How did they purchase that home that quick with that money, honey? They was already staying there. Now you got people in the comments spreading that. You cannot do that. You were wrong. You were wrong. And it really touched me.
So I have a son that went to a college. Okay. My son, this happened last year. He is 6'6", 230 pounds, went and saw his girlfriend. This is why I have a very, very open mind about this, because it could have been bad. They were at a party. He was standing by his truck talking to a guy. A lot of kids in Texas carry pokies. It's just a fact. They do. They fiddle around. They're in the woods all the time. They just do. So somebody come up from behind him and pushed him. Okay. He turned around, and it was 5 or 6 Hispanic guys trying to fight him. And he told me, he didn't tell me till he got home, but he told me, like, he was like, what the hell is going on? And they surrounded him. And
but ma'am, respectfully, I read on the internet that your son also decided to fight a bunch of teachers, and that's why they. No, I read on the internet. Yeah, I read on the internet that your son decided to also. He decided to take that poker and go to a store and start stealing. That's what I read on the internet.
Oh gosh, I apologize. Come on, man.
No, but I just want you. But no, I said that for a reason, because I want you to understand that when you put things out there like that, I get that you. No, I know. I hear you, and I get that you apologize. And this is not even more so to you anymore. This is to everybody. If you're gonna come up here and you're gonna speak, and it's not my platform, my bad.
You know what, dude?
But if you're gonna come up here and you're gonna speak, and you're gonna
rumors. There's so many rumors about
that wasn't even a rumor. You pulled that from the depths of the internet from some random Facebook user who literally missing 15 teeth, and then you came up here and you peddled that BS, and then there was nothing to back it up, and it's easily, like, literally, if you like, and I was about to say something mean, but anybody that has 2 brain cells to rub together could have instantly kind of said that doesn't make sense. Like, literally, do you think that people can? Let me not do that, because that's not actually.
You can't
I stand on it. I don't care. I stand on it.
Okay, you apologized and you let it go. As quickly as you want to let it go and just let it fly over, it's not going to be that way with other people.
No,
You
it's
and
not.
that's what I'm saying. You have to be careful about the things that you say because number one, there's already stereotypes against us. Let's just be clear. There are people who have gotten GoFundMe's and have done crazy things. But
Yeah.
these people, and it's been out there way before, these people were very much established. And that is why you go to multiple sources and you go and you really, really, really have to do your homework before
Right.
you go and say these things. Now,
Yes.
no, as fast as you want it to go away, it's not going to go away because just because you're done with it doesn't mean everybody else is done with it because clearly Denzel and everybody else is still triggered by what it is that
Because
you
that's
have
a serious
said.
accusation she made. Do you know how serious
It's
that
Very
not me.
much.
is?
It's
It's
everywhere.
very
It's
serious
everywhere. I
because
brought it up and it's
I've
everywhere. It's
never
not
seen
me.
that. I'm sorry. I've never seen that.
Here's the
I've
part.
never seen that.
The thing that makes that's so problematic is that when you first said it, and my laptop is right here. When you first said it, and I googled it, and I started looking up the articles, the fact that I saw only the conservative articles, the Sun Times and Fox News. I was all like, oh yeah, I already know because they have a bias against Karmelo anyway. So I already knew like, yeah, this is probably not true. And then I had thought about the actual amount of money that was raised in the first place. And that money, even if they took all of the money out to try to buy the home, they still wouldn't have had enough money to buy that home in the
And
first place.
Afro
And
spells.
I'm
Who?
looking this up, and is a bunch of speculation. I'm literally going through the article, and they don't have any actual evidence that that they bought a new home or that they used that money specifically to buy the home. First off, they wouldn't know that unless the family said it. They wouldn't know where the money came from. And then there's no evidence to that either. I looked
And
it up
that's
and
why I
clicked the first.
apologize.
Hold
Even though
on,
the damage is
ma'am, hold
done.
on. No, I looked it up, clicked the first article. There's been people who've come up, that mermaid lady, lieutenant. They come up and they spew a bunch of false information. It's not even false information, just straight up lies to make Karmelo look bad. Oh, it stopped raining a while ago. It's premeditated. Oh, well, I had looked it up before and, he was in the wrong tent and all that stuff. So there's a side that are trying to low key spew lies so they can slander Karmelo. So the fact that you came up here and it was kind of interesting that you're like, I hope I'm not going to get bashed because I'm YT. The fact that you came up here and you said it and you didn't say this is something I've heard. You said it as if it is a confirmed fact
thank
that
you.
this is
Thank
what
you,
they're
sir. Thank you,
doing.
sir.
With
Thank you,
conviction,
sir. Thank you,
that was a
sir.
fact.
Thank you,
That was a
sir.
fact in her
Thank you.
brain. Like
Can I say
that's why
something
I'm so
too about
triggered
her?
by that. That was a fact in your brain. And I'm
Yes, it
sick and tired of
was.
hearing
I
this.
was
I'm
listening to
tired
her.
of
I
it.
was on it. I was on it. I was on it. I heard it, and that she meant it. She
And
said that from her
she went
heart.
from
Well,
I
trying to
I
heard it.
bash
jumped on it
Carmelo's family
immediately
to
when I
making
said,
six Mexicans
no,
sound
no,
bad.
no,
So
that
she
was
went from
No,
not
one
she's
true.
racist
not.
jump to the
If you
next.
would listen to my
And
story
then if
for
you
a
would have been up here,
second,
I'd have bashed you too.
I don't care. Just listen to this. So my son actually pulled his knife. And I was like, wait, because I'm going to tell you, if
Those six
Camaro,
Mexicans would have
whatever
had
his name
knives too.
is,
I don't believe a word
listen,
you're saying now. I just don't.
I
I
am
don't. I
a
think you're slick. I think
military,
you're slick. I think you're slick. I think you got in here and you said, "Oh, hey, all this." I think you're slick because the first thing you did is try to say, "How dare them parents buy that house with that money?" And the second thing you did is, "Oh, now my son's surrounded
oh
by
God.
six Mexicans. Get out of here. You're
And
being
you
slick.
said it
You're being
again,
slick."
like you
So what
I've
knew
I
seen
that
was
slick
that
white
was a
saying,
ladies like
known
you.
fact.
so
I'm
what I
white.
was saying,
I know my own kind,
is
honey.
I could
Finish
have
your
I
been,
know
story.
my own
Finish your
I
kind.
story.
could have been in the same situation.
Finish your
If
story. So
Yeah.
Thank you.
your
So
son
Finish
anyway,
this
get
fairy
so
jumped.
tale.
he got
Your son
pushed.
get
It's not
jumped.
a fucking fairy tale, so shut up. Because
Your
this is
son
what
get
makes my
jumped. Keep
mind.
going. All
So
right.
he got pushed and he
Uh-huh.
turned around. He's out there talking to a buddy and he turns around and there's like six guys wanting to like fight him. And he's a strong kid and he's like, what the hell's going on? Well, they kind of surrounded him and he did pull his knife.
Mm.
But my dad is an airborne ranger. We have been around pow pows, pokies. If you pull that stuff, you're supposed to use them. Okay. And I asked him, I said, do what? I said, Zane, did you actually pull the blade? And he said, no, but I made sure that they knew that I had that on me. But mom, it scared me with that many people. So what I'm saying is, if this young gentleman, all he has to do, if the videos show that Austin put his hands on that kid in the state of Texas, all he's got to say is he felt like his life was in danger and he's going home. Period.
All right.
So thank you for all the insults. Whatever your name is, Jetty, making it sound like I'm making shit up. I mean, that's bullshit.
Honey,
I'd
you
said
did
I
come up here
Language,
to
apologize that
tell a
I would
language,
lie.
pull
You
her
didn't
face
language.
come up
on
here to tell a
me.
lie.
So
Yeah, you've been up
here.
here
Hold on
gaslighting. You're gaslighting like
one
crazy.
minute. So I
Six
hope, Real
six Mexicans
American,
would have
you
jumped him.
understand.
I'm
You
52 years old.
understand
They
what
would have took.
happened,
They'd have
that
took
you take
after
it
him.
as a
Bullshit.
lesson, as you go on and continue on these platforms that misinformation is a no-no. And don't, if you, I don't know, I wasn't with you, but if you say you Google something, really Google it, and don't just read the AI, but read the actual article that it produces attached to the
That
initial
was my bad. I pulled up the
description.
first thing
Yeah.
and I didn't research it. That
Yeah,
was my
you
bad.
got to read it. You got to read the article, the source that it provides. Okay. And I'm going to say this: we have people requesting, so we can actually rotate the panel. So
That's
DH
exactly what I was
didn't
about to do.
go. Yeah,
Yeah, hey, I'm
DH.
gonna
I
drop
believe it's
down.
the only one
Thank you
that
so much
didn't
for having
speak.
me up, host. And Real America, you got to do better. But thank y'all. Y'all have a good night.
Appreciate you,
You too.
bro.
Good night.
All right. But yeah, let's get to I want to get to who do I want to get to next? Well, let me see.
Hey,
Sweden.
I'm gonna drop. I've got to go to bed and go to work, but thank y'all.
All right.
Good night.
All right.
DH didn't go. As far as I know, DH didn't go
All
after
right.
me.
Yeah. DH.
Peace, everybody. So I
Peace.
wanted to address some of the things that were said, and there was a lot of misinformation. The Real American, and that name, Real American in all caps, as a username is very telling. You know, it says a
Exactly.
lot about the mindset of that person. But there was so much misinformation. Being somebody that is a native Texan, born in Dallas, and I've lived all over North Texas, especially the city in question, for many, many years. It's almost like there was this projection of Carmelo Anthony's family being this poor family that needed a house, and instead of using the money that was raised for the correct purpose, there's always that the false statistics about how much money we black people spend on Air Jordans, and that we aren't really poor. We just spend so much money on Air Jordans, and that's where our money goes. It's almost like she was projecting the poor people who spend their money and waste their money on things that they shouldn't waste their money on onto this family. And if you know anything about Frisco, Texas, the people that live in Frisco, Texas are well off or middle class, or at least middle class or upper middle class. And she said, well, if they're gonna do that, they could at least buy a house. There are houses for 200. There are no houses for $200,000 in Frisco, Texas. This family is well off. Um, my neighbors were, Dallas Cowboys football players, Cowboys cheerleaders. You're gonna see a Lamborghini every single day. You're gonna see a Ferrari every single day, and it's not even to the point. It's so much to the point where it's not even as exciting as it is the first time you see it. You see Bentleys every day. This kid is from a rich city. Frisco was the safest place in America several, like at least a couple years in a row, and it's always in the top 10 of the safest cities in America. This place is not a poor place, and she was just projecting all kind, and she tried to pretend that she was not racist. But I'm sorry, Real American was very racist from the very moment she opened her mouth. She said a lot of very racist things, and she projected those things. Um, uh, as soon as she opened her mouth. So, a $200,000 house in Frisco, not happening. You can't even buy a townhome because everything is pretty much luxury townhomes and things like that. You can't even buy a townhome for less than like a half a million in Frisco, Texas. It's so she came up with the wrong attitude, and like Denzel said, she was trying to pretend that she was an ally. And I just wanted to kind of, come up here and let you guys know what kind of environment this kid is in. Frisco, Texas is building a Universal Studios resort right now. It's going to be opening next year. This
Hmm.
is a very well off area of North Texas. So this lady came up, spewing all these negative speaking points about this man's family, this young man's family, about them spending money on a house, and it's absolutely not true. You can't even buy a single family home probably for $420,000. This is the type of place this kid lives in, and
Not only to mention, sorry, let me just jump in. Not only to mention, when you have a GoFundMe or anything like that, when you're receiving donations, people donate for a very specific cause. You can't just spend that money just how you want to spend the money. Even if there's
exactly.
extra money, you can't just be all like, I'm gonna buy a house with the money now. No, if people are raising money for somebody's legal defense, they can't spend them. You do understand that that money gets audited. All donation money gets audited. So if they spent that money, they would actually be committing a crime by spending that money to buy a house, because that's not what the GoFundMe, it's not GoFundMe. It was another page, Gifts and Go. That's not what the Gifts and Go page was about. All right. So if they took that money and they finessed essentially people who donated, they would go to jail for that, because that's committing a crime.
That's fraud. It's literally fraud. The brick lady, she got in trouble for that. Brick
Mm-hmm.
gave the young lady that said that somebody hit her with a brick, and then a bunch of people donated money to her. She got in trouble for that. So I wanted to come up and kind of push back on some of the projected racism, and stereotypes that she projected onto the young man's family, because that was very unfair, to the young man's family, to the situation. She spread a lot of misinformation about the case as well. And meanwhile, sounded very sweet. She sounded very sweet while doing it. And we have to be very cautious and careful about people who come up to the panel speaking sweetly, but saying and repeating all this misinformation, and subtly being racist. She's being very subtle with it, but it was passive aggressive racism, with her speaking points, and we just got to be on the watch for things like that, because those are the types of things that it can spread like a wildfire. You know what I mean? Because like the sister said, they were down in the comments spreading that stuff. And also, I just want to ask one question: do you believe that the law should be applied equally, regardless of whatever race of the defendant? And if your answer is yes, then this young man should walk, because Kyle Rittenhouse had an illegal weapon that he was not old enough to have, and it also crossed state borders with it. And he walked for self-defense. The gentleman that was running up towards Kyle Rittenhouse to take his weapon because he was discharging that weapon, he had a plastic bag in his hand. Kyle Rittenhouse, blew him away. Meanwhile, this young man was actually being physically attacked by larger individuals. So if you believe the law should be applied equally, regardless of the race of the defendant, then this young man should walk. And I'll land there.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is why we get this up here, because a lot of people are making threats, literal threats to a judge for lowering somebody's bail, which $1 million bail in this situation was outrageous. It was completely outrageous. And she's being threatened so much so to the point where she feels for her safety. She fears for her safety, and she's had to boost up her own security. All right, and people like, oh, this is a travesty. Where's American law? The judges, people were talking about the judges woke, the judges DEI, the judges, all of these things. They calling her the N word and threatening her and Karmelo. But yet, when this judge showed I've never in my entire life seen anything that showed more bias for a defendant than this judge right here. I've never in my life seen, now maybe it's happened, but I've never seen a judge, and especially a situation that's so televised. This case was so televised, and that judge right there didn't care whatsoever. He didn't care that he was openly being biased. He didn't care what nobody thought. He
He
was just gonna
didn't.
do what he wanted to do.
But
I
they
agree.
applauded the
That's
judge during Amber Geiger when the brother went and hugged the dude. Amber, when she unalived his brother, and then the
Oh, that was
judge
silly.
went up to her and gave her a Bible. See, that's the type of stuff that they're looking for.
Man, they made me want to
Exactly.
hurl.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now let's get you smart sister. Are you
Yeah,
able to
that
say
whole
me?
I
situation
gotta
made
go.
me hurl.
Okay, I'm
Uh,
gonna drop you.
Thanks. All right. Thanks
yeah.
for having me. All right.
Appreciate
Peace.
you, bro.
Good night, TH Drag. Good night, Drag.
Good night, King.
We already know what time it is, everybody. Like I said, Justice is blind, but she can smell black people. Okay, so we might as well. I mean, if we want to talk about law and slavery was legal, so let's let's not talk about laws and righteousness and justice. We know it ain't no justice. It's just us 90% of the time. Okay. And so I don't understand why everybody clutching their pearls and trying to act like this is something new. We already know how it always plays out, how the narratives are played out. I worked in media before. Okay. Just the wording. Think about it. Kids, murder, tragedy. You know, now if this little young man had poked another black boy, would we even be up here talking about it?
Nope.
Would any white tea people be
Received
concerned?
any notes coverage.
Thank you, because I hear there's another case in Texas right now between two black girls. It's a little, I think they told me a 12 or 13-year-old girl poked another black girl for bullying her. So I'm gonna look that up and I'll let you know, brother, if that's it. But in
Wow.
Texasistan, that's what I call it. Texasistan, we already know how
Yeah, that's
things
true. And
work.
there's another case exactly the same, except it was a Hispanic boy that got poked. But the only
Okay.
reason that those cases are not being publicized is because the person who was poked wasn't a white boy.
And let's not
Exactly.
forget about the case that hasn't been publicized where the white T man ran over the young little 10-year-old black boy.
Oh,
And all
Jordan
yeah.
he
Hill.
did was turn around and get his
He
mirror.
came back
And
to
he
get his
ain't got
mirror.
no dag.
Right.
He ain't
And
even
the
in
only
jail.
charge he called was a marijuana charge.
A
Yep.
Right.
marijuana charge.
I'm gonna say something. They're mad that a black kid is gonna be able to use stand your ground.
That is
That
funny.
that that they're mad that the law that they created to be able to shoot unarmed
Yep.
black kids with the guns they carry around on them that they designed exactly for that purpose. I don't got to use my gun to back up. I don't even got to warn them. No more. I
Yep.
can just pull that thing out and start a blasting. Well, that might just come up to that. That's what's got him by the craw. Is the kid that was the wrong color died? They'd have
And
been.
right now, and right
Yeah,
now
but
in
you can't
Texas,
say you can't.
aren't they
Don't say
lowering?
the.
I'm sorry.
Don't say the act.
Oh,
Hey, you
okay.
gotta
Yeah.
You
substitute
gotta say
that. But
pew pew.
yeah,
I
Right
thought the
now in
B word
Texas,
was
aren't
that's
they
different.
trying?
TikTok. You know that's TikTok.
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
And I
In
did want to
Texas,
say,
aren't they lowering the age for you to be able to go out and purchase a Pum Pum? They're lowering the age
Yeah,
to
I
seven.
wouldn't be
18.
surprised nothing
All
I've
over at
Texas
17.
stand does.
You can
Nothing.
have an assault rifle at 17 in Nebraska, and I don't think it's a kid. No kid needs to have that. 21-year-old though needs one probably. So yeah, it's 17 here in Nebraska.
We do have new speakers, so I'm gonna let
Oh, sorry.
Smart Sister speak, and then we can get to the rest of the speakers. Smart Sister land.
Okay, no, I'm just saying for everyone, we as black people, I think what we're gonna have to really do, watch the media closely because we know the narratives that they've always tried before. They can't play that narrative with this young man because he's not poor, he's not a thug, he doesn't have D-rugs in his system. They can't all that they can't play. So we got to really watch that. We got to watch and see are they going to change the venue because I don't see how any way he could get a fair trial there. So they need to do that. And then who the jury of his peers, I can't wait to see that too.
The
We
jury
need to
selection
watch
is going to be
all of that.
very important in this case.
Very important. And that's the things that we as a people really need to stay on top of, stay in front of, and then come up with a strategy and a plan if the verdict goes the way we want or if it doesn't. Those are the things. I don't believe in being reactionary all the time. We have to be proactive. We know how things usually play out. We know what the narratives are. We need to stay ahead of it, of all of it, so to make sure that this young man does get a fair trial. That's all I got to say.
Yes,
Thank
thank you,
you.
sister. Appreciate you. Let's get you Latoya, and then Pomegranate, and then Dee Dee.
Hello. Listen, I just want to really touch on what she said before she left. And I would like to be optimistic, right?
Mhm.
But I feel like I live in a world today, and when has justice ever been fair for us? It has never. And even though they can't put all the stereotypical things that they say about us, that they say about our children, the fact that our children have to be perfect. Literally, Carmelo is the example of what they say our children have to be, and they're still spinning the narrative that he is a thug, he is ghetto, he's from a single parent household, when the Metcalf boys were all of those things, except for, they probably did well in school. But they do live with their father in a single parent household. They don't live with their mother. Their mother and father are not together. But like I was stating, that our kids nearly have to be important. It nearly have to be perfect in all aspects for them not to be looked at a certain way. And it still happens. It's happening now. You see that whenever this comes across your screen, it's always going to be Carmelo's mugshot, and it's going to be Austin's football picture or his track picture, but never Carmelo and who he was, and who he portrayed himself to be outside and in school. So I just hate to say it. It's a sad thing, but this is the world we live in. Do I think the trial is going to be fair? No.
Well, that's why we got to do what we got to do here. I mean, we're a part of the team. We all got to lock in. The fact that I'm gonna say is it's an uphill battle. It definitely is. It is an uphill battle. But the fact that he's home now is a good sign. To me, it's a good
Well,
sign.
I truly believe that it's a good sign. I just really believe that the judge was just being fair,
Mhm.
right? But is every judge behind her going to be fair? I truly believe this one time he lucked up and he caught a break because the bond was extremely too high. But is that going to happen every time for him? I don't believe so. I mean, we watched a woman in her home get unalived because they said she attempted to throw boiling hot water on them, and we clearly saw her try to move the boiling water from the stove to her sink.
Mhm. And rest in power to Sonia Massey. Rest in power to that sister. But the thing is that I don't think that us as black people, I don't think that we should be approaching this situation, any situation, but in particular this situation, with like a glass half empty type of attitude. Because let's be honest, the officer that unalived Sonia Massey is in prison right now, or he is in jail. He has been arrested. And that's not something that was happening 50 years ago, where officers actually got charged and arrested for unaliving black people. That is not something that was going on in the past, but that is something that we're seeing, not as much as we should, but that is something that we're seeing happening more frequently today. The fact that he posted bail, that's a good sign. So we just got to keep pushing forward. And the reason why I don't want us to like talk
Be
down on the
pessimistic.
situation.
Be pessimistic.
Yeah, I don't want us to be like that, is because I don't want that pressure to get to Carmelo and then he wind up taking a deal. I don't want him to feel like ain't no winning this, and then he's all like, I'm gonna just take a deal. Then I
I
agree
truly believe
that
that
he
that's
can't win
why
because I think he
they
can, honestly.
switched. I truly believe that's why they switched attorneys
Yeah.
so many times, was because they were like, yeah, you should take the plea. And his parents was like, nope, you're not the one for us. Somebody else.
Yep. Yeah, that's definitely true. And that, well, I don't know if it's true or not, but that definitely makes sense. It
Yeah.
makes sense. But thank you. I appreciate your comment. Let me get you pomegranate.
So where I'm at right now, I think that if he goes to trial with the charges that he's on right now, there's a possibility that the charges could get dropped because what he did was not first degree. But if they do add more indictments before they go to trial, which would be the smart thing to do if they're trying to get him down, then he could go down for probably, I would say he'd go down for manslaughter. I think he should, or I wish he could walk free, but me being realistic, I'm going for manslaughter. I think that is the description of what he did. But I understand the circumstances why he felt that it needed to be done. And also somebody was talking about earlier with what his family is doing with the donation money. His family like explicitly told donators what their plans were for the money, so I don't think that's an issue. They told us that it wasn't just going to be for legal funds.
Mm, okay. Um, I
But
gotta look up
even
exactly.
if
I
it
gotta look
wasn't,
up
can you
exactly what
blame
the family
them?
said.
Can you blame them for not wanting to be in their home or their hometown where they live at?
Well, no, that's why they said it in the Give Send Go. Hold on, I had it pulled up a second ago.
So in the gifts and go, they said. Now you said something that I thought was interesting. You said that what he did is the definition of manslaughter. Do you not see this as a self defense case? You don't see it that way?
I see it as self defense, but only under this is only based on the state. If he was in another state, I would not call this self defense, unfortunately. But legally in Texas, it's self defense. Me personally, morally, I think it's self defense, but my morals don't really matter in the courtroom. So, as we are in Texas, it was self defense in my opinion.
This is you do know the difference between self defense and manslaughter. Like George
Yes.
Zimmerman, that was definitely manslaughter. Like he saw someone, he went and attacked them, and they were fighting. And once he found himself not on the good end, he unalived them. That's manslaughter.
Yeah, no, that. To be honest, that's not even manslaughter. That's worse than manslaughter. What Zimmerman did.
Okay. All right. Well, as you're because I do want to see what the give send go was. If you're pulling it up right now, if you can, I don't know, pull it up on your
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah, I
It
donated as
says
well.
it says
But I want to just
while
as you.
legal sorry.
What does it say? What does it say?
While legal defense is a critical part of this journey, we want to make it clear that this fund is not solely dedicated to legal expense. The funds raised will also support a range of urgent and necessary needs that have emerged as a result of the situation, including but not limited to the safe relocation of the Anthony family due to escalating threats to their safety and well-being, as well as basic living costs, counseling, and other security measures.
Okay.
I wasn't there when I initially donated, but it was a very blanket statement when I donated that stated like basically he's innocent. Wait till the facts come out. It was like very blanket statement, but it didn't specify what the money was going to. Nor do I think I should
I
here,
pulled it
right?
up right now on the computer.
Yeah, no, but
Wait,
what I'm saying is
wait,
I
wait, whoa, whoa,
donated
whoa, whoa,
about
whoa. One
I
minute,
understand
one
what you're
minute,
saying. You
one
wasn't there
minute,
when you did,
y'all.
but I
One
also,
minute.
even if it wasn't there
Wait a minute,
explicitly,
pomegranate. 1 minute. So it's my understanding that they had a GoFundMe first, and then that was brought down, and then they went to Gibson Go. So
yeah.
what platform did you donate to, Love Black?
This is the one
Maybe.
she's talking about. So
Yeah, she sent it to the
so
ghost
what
and
I'm saying is that
gifted.
I donated about 4 days ago, right? So I donated 4 days ago, and that messaging, right, because they got the threats after, has changed, and I'm okay with that because it was always a blanket statement. It never specified what the money was going to, and I think that's why they went out and clarified, because it just stated a blanket statement that, hey, donate. Basically, he's innocent. It didn't say he was going to the defense fund, although some people, very few in the comment section of that Go or whatever it's called, stated, hey, I want this to go to his legal fund. So some money may go. I just want us to be clear, though. These YT people that have unalived people have become millionaires. So like Kyle Rutten, whatever his name, is now a millionaire based off of his decisions because of their community supporting and donating. Regardless of what this money's going to, this young man exemplifies Black excellence. He exemplifies what we tell our young boys and girls to go out and do, to get an education, don't get in trouble. He was not only the captain of the race of the running thing, he was also the captain of another team. And I'm sorry I'm going blank because it's late, but nonetheless, he was the captain of two teams. He was a 3.7 GPA. He has two parents. His home, guys, people are now pushing that they just brought this home. That money is still in the fund, as you can see, sister. That home was the home they owned. He went home. So when they're saying he went home to a 900,000, it's Frisco. That's what the homes cost. You know what I mean? And so don't make it seem that we are undeserving of justice. And this young man has literally gone through a situation that is going to set the precedents moving forward of how you can address us. It's not about what's happening in our community. We'll deal with that. That's not nobody's business. What it's setting the precedents for, that first, we have equal rights. BLK, if you set a law, the law has to apply to everyone. It cannot be one-sided and narrow. And so I just wanted to throw all of that out there. Thank you for allowing me, first and foremost, Afro Elite, on your panel. I appreciate that. But I want us to just take a moment and retrain our thoughts in what money is going to and what money's not going to. Like literally, this young man is going through something that is going to be life-changing. And yet he is speaking. His name alone is already famous, right? His name alone is associated to a basketball player. And then we see his life and we say, wait a minute now, how did he get this wrong? How did he get this wrong? And if they can all benefit off of their wrongdoings, then he didn't do anything wrong that day, in my opinion, from the facts that we've stated. I don't even believe he brought a slicer to school. I think he used something off the ground, to be honest with you. But we'll find out all of these facts. And I just want people in our community to just be a little more empathetic and far more supportive when these type of accidents happen.
I mean, even if he did
Sorry,
bring,
can I rebut
Hold
on
on,
that?
let's because Dee Dee hasn't even spoken yet, and then we have another person up here. So I want to be fair and let everybody. It is late, and I want everybody to at least get a chance to say one thing one time. So I'm gonna let Paul McGrath finish, and then we'll get to Dee Dee. But you stay up, and we'll get back to you.
Yeah, as for the weapon, we don't know what it was yet. It hasn't been disclosed to the public. But if it was a poker, he was legally allowed to have it. What's it called? I'm sure y'all have heard like all the things about the under 5.5 inches, right? But yeah, under Texas Penal Code 46.01, I think it's also in 46.03. But it says all of the ones that are restricted on school campus and all of these other places. And then it says for the pokers, it says location restricted pokers, which is telling you over or under 5.5 inches. So you're allowed to carry in a school under 5.5. And we don't know for sure because it hasn't been released to the public, but we can assume that it was under 5.5 because he didn't get a weapons charge. And if he did have a weapon over 5.5 inches or a poker over 5.5 inches, he would be going down for capital murder right now.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. Appreciate that. Appreciate you with that comment. Let's see. Let's get to Dee Dee.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, Diva. You just said Dee
It's
Dee.
D Diva.
Okay. I
It's
just saw.
fine.
Okay, go ahead. How you doing?
Okay. I just want to say I think that this case is not something new. There's a current case that's going to trial right now that is a YT young boy and a YT Latino boy that was unalived. And the YT young man unalived the Latino young man, and he's saying it's self-defense. It's almost the exact same case. He actually had $1 million bond as well, and it was lowered to 150,000. So that's in court right now. Um, I'd ask you guys to look up a case that happened in my hometown. If you look up, because I'm in Texas, Bryan, Texas, a YT male pew-pewed his girlfriend 15 times, in which she was black. He had a $30,000 bond. We are talking about how in society, the issue with Austin was that he thought he could be an overseer. And I think that this case will set a level of a precedent on how children, particularly black children, should be treated, how we should, as black people. I love the host when you said, it's time for us to stand behind him and support him. And I think we should show up more in regards to our children. Hold on, sorry. We should show up more for our children and how they're seen or not seen for that matter in society. This case is the reminder that they still think they own us. They were her property. It very much speaks volumes on how black people are perceived in the system and how we're treated. And if anyone truly understands that, we're still being treated like the modern day slave. We're still being put in a position where we're being some form of a profit for YT society. This young man will walk away. He might walk away with probation. He might walk away with a year or two, but I do think he's going to walk away. And I think he's going to walk away with a new outlook on life, particularly when it pertains to how his life and how he moves in society. But I definitely think that he has a chance of being vindicated in what he did. Because I feel like no one gets to walk up to someone and decide if they should or should not move or physically force them to be moved. And that's something I think YT people need to learn to adjust to, because we're still seeing how Karens and Kens are blocking our children out of the pools. They're going to the school and calling the police, or if you fall asleep in your dorm room area in the space and they think that you're not supposed to be there. This is very much the overseer, the Jim Crow of YT people showing up, and they effing around and finding out.
Yeah, definitely. And we need to support, I want to support him. And I think, and I'm glad that the community is doing so. The community is supporting him because not just legally, but mentally, I know he must be going through a whole lot right now. His mental state is probably better since he's home, but just mentally speaking, this is a lot for, mind you, he's 17 years old. This is a lot for anybody to go through. But mind you, he's not even old enough to buy cigarettes yet. He's not even old enough to play the lottery yet. So this is a terrible situation, and I'm glad that the community is backing this kid up. So we know for a fact that where his life was going is not going there anymore, but he can still wind up maybe doing probation, community service, whatever the case is, or even if they want to they gotta do a year or two maybe for the knife or whatever the case is, because we don't know as of as of yet. But he can still he's a good kid and he can still make something of himself. He has good parents. He's very talented. He's very educated, for being a young man. So he can still make something of himself and be a productive member of society. And I think it's our responsibility to allow him to continue the opportunity of life that he would have had he not been attacked. And this will set a really good precedent, not just for the community, but for the kids too, to let the kids know that the community does have their back. He was attacked. He was attacked. Even his twin brother, I'm in the comments, even his twin brother admitted that they attacked him. His twin brother admitted that to the police. But we're going to continue. Let's get to Miss Charisma.
Hello, thank you for
How you doing?
tonight. I'm only asleep by now. However, I decided to come in. I came on your live.
You kind of broken up a little.
I live in Texas. Let me take my watch off. Hear me better?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hmm.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
You're
great.
good.
I live in Texas and I live close to that area. And I will tell you that majority of that area, we're coming along, but it is YT. And you get pulled over for anything. They think that I am very young and they see the type of vehicle that I'm driving and they'll stop you. But as far as this case goes, I do believe that Karmelo was provoked. I don't think that he intended to unalive anybody. I believe that he intended to protect himself. I also say that I agree with D Diva 100% in what she said. There's a lot of cases in Texas. I think the best thing would be to move it out of Collin County so that he can have a fair trial, because if we're going to honestly speak, the jury probably will be all YT, and that's just fact. Also, as far as his bun, I don't know if anybody remember, but there was like a few years ago, and I can say because I know this person, there was a guy who they said, a YT woman said that he tried to kidnap her child. And he actually didn't try to do any of that. The video came out and none of what she said happened. However, they set his bond for $500,000 just so that they can say, oh, we got him off the street. But then once the person was caught and everything was found out, they found out that she totally lied about what happened. But you know what? They didn't want to go back and put that on the news and be like, oh, well, the video shows this never happened. But they did say, oh, well, she did go back to the news. And when they highlighted the story, it was like, oh, I was pulling this and yanking this person away from my child. This person had my child and was trying to take them out the door. And the person was on foot. So you guys are absolutely right when you talk about how here in Texas and how they do things. And they don't. Even with my neighbor, some kids in my family were over and she's a white tea woman. I had to call the police because she was doing all kind of unnecessary stuff, calling them out their names, child indecency. Do you know when I called, they never showed up? And then she called, and guess what? She called later on and they came in like 5 minutes. 5 minutes, because that's what they do here. That's how it is in Texas. And people will be like, oh, I went to Texas and I've seen a lot of people say, oh, I've been to Texas and none of that happened. No, it's not happening as you're visiting. But if you live here day to day, this type of stuff is going on every day. And depending on the color of your skin, they're not in urgency. And again, like you guys said, they're only in urgency about this case because it's unfortunate, but the child that was unalived is YT. And those are facts. And we can say all day, oh, well, we didn't do this, or it's not about race, but it is about race. They have made it about race, because if it would have been two white people, we probably wouldn't hear anything about it. Mm-hmm. But for sure, we know if it was two black children, we definitely wouldn't hear anything. It wouldn't even been on the news. We would have probably got a 3-sentence article, and that's not even considered an article. We would have got that, and it would have been over. And that's that. And we wouldn't have heard nothing else about it. But because he is YT, this is why we're doing this. But we have to look at the law. The law says in Texas, stand your ground. You can defend yourself by any means necessary. So, we kind of have to stick by that. But, these laws today, they weren't made for people of, color. They weren't. They were made for YT people until it happens to one of them, and then they want to switch it and try to figure out ways to just kind of just go through and be like, oh, well, this doesn't pertain because, they're this color, or this doesn't pertain to them, or this doesn't pertain to this type of person. But in reality, law is law, and they should stick by the black and white that they have set here. And especially since they wanted to make it to where you don't have to have a license to carry or anything here in Texas. So, and they don't even check. So it's kind of like, oh, you want to go out and buy a pew-pew? Go right ahead. You have to be 18 or 21, depending on the type of pew pew you want to buy. But that's all I wanted to say. You guys, I appreciate how you've conducted your live. This is the first live I've been on where it was just all nice and everybody let people speak and there's not any going back and forth. Y'all have a wonderful night. And I can just tell you I will be coming back to see your lives and stuff like that.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I don't know how to drop, but if you just drop me off, that'll be great.
All right. Thank you.
Good night,
Thank
Miss
you.
Carrie.
Good night.
I would like to know what would be like, because I've been to Texas. I got family in Texas. I've never lived there. What location should, like, what do you think from people who actually live in Texas, what would be a good location for them to relocate? That's a good question because I'm not sure. I have heard that they do need to relocate in order to get a fair trial. But
I
I mean,
agree.
I was
Fulshire
like, some people saying
or
Dallas.
Katy.
Dallas? You said who? Where else?
Katy or Fulshire. I'm in Fulshire, so it's brand new. It's very diverse. So Katy area.
So someone told me
Is that
transfer
is that
of
like
venue.
close? Is that close to the locate? Does relocating have to be close to the situation? I'm not 100%
No.
sure about that.
You
Okay.
want to get as far away from it as you can.
Okay.
But so I heard it was based on the judge's decision, and of course, a transfer of venue is definitely warranted in this case. However, I was informed that with Texas law, and there was some back and forth, and so I don't know if anyone on the panel knows that with Texas law, with the transfer of venue, you have to still stay within the county. So he could potentially still have to be within Collins County, and if he gets transferred from his current county into something else, like they named a couple of other areas. One started with a P.
I'm sorry,
Palat. Yeah, they said like, hey, go to Palat or whatever. If you go out into that area, then does that really justify, is he going to be helped? So I don't know if he has to be within the county, but if so, then that kind of, that Texas is mostly red just to call that out.
People don't understand about Dallas. There's still sundown towns around Dallas, like Vida, Jasper.
Right.
It like people really don't understand how it's still very racist.
And if his life,
what'd you say?
no, I was just gonna say, he would be able to move. Of course, they would have to run it by the judge. But if his life and his family's life is threatened, then that would damn sure be a good.
It's reasonable. It's justified.
Exactly.
And to add to that, it only takes one juror, right? So it only takes one juror to state that I don't agree, And so why people put a lot of emphasis on the judge, which does matter because the judge is going to sway, opinions. If someone objects, the judge can go back and forth with that. What evidence can be introduced into, into the case? It's going to be based on the judge. So the judge is very important, but really, it's going to be the jury. And it only takes one jury. This is a criminal case. Any criminal cases, it's one jury. And I honestly do think the prosecution has yet to submit it. If you listen to the press release yesterday from the prosecution, the grand jury hasn't indicted this guy. So just to be clear on anything, he's not indicted, guys, just yet with any type of charges. The grand jury has yet to be presented with the evidence. And it seems like there may be, the way the prosecution was talking, he kind of was backtracking. And I suggest you all to go listen to it just to tell me if I'm like whatever. But his tone seemed like, we're going to follow the facts. We're going to see what's all. Everyone deserves justice. Both families have lost. It was like this emphasis on, whatever. So just to call that out too.
Yeah, it seemed as if, and I got to listen to the whole thing, just, small little clip on the internet is what I saw. It seemed as if the prosecution really didn't have like a firm argument, like a firm place to stand.
Agreed.
It seemed like the prosecution was kind of like, hey, we're gonna try to do what we can do. But I got to see the whole thing though.
That was exactly the tone, Afro.
The key there is there's video, and there's over 70 some odd people that I'm assuming are still being interviewed. So they have video, and none of that's been released. So that should speak volumes in this case, because if there was video that villainized him, it'd be exposed already. But from what is being said, there is video, and there's a lot of people that are still needing to be interviewed. I've only heard one person via eyewitness. It was a black man, and he was saying his daughters were on the track team, and he gave a almost matching to the twin description of what happened, and from his perspective. And it's very interesting how the twin even said it himself. He said he initiated the engagement, and then his brother, like he always does, stepped up to like back him up. I would keep saying this on every panel I go on. Y'all show me a twin that fights by themselves, and I'll show you a
So you
liar.
Bring up
so you
evidence.
believe that his twin should be charged as an accessory?
Absolutely.
Yes,
That's
yes.
not what she's saying, but she's saying that. I guess what I would like to add is in Texas, you're allowed to actually openly hold and carry a weapon, right? Being 21 years old, okay? When these laws are actually told to the public, they tell you, all right, you can do this in public, but there's certain areas that you can't openly carry. What I was looking at as well, non-lethal weapons, like I don't know how to say this TikTok friendly wording, KNIFE, right?
Say like poker. Say that like a poker
Okay.
or a stick.
Those pokers, those sticks, pepper spray, stuff like that, you must be 18 years and older, and you still have certain areas that you can go to, whether it's a school, this and that. You can't enter those areas with these pokers, with these unaliving weapons, I guess. What I would say is this guy was held on $1 million bond, and then a few days later, he was released on a reduced bond. So what does that tell us as people of the public? It tells us that there was missing information. He has a chance in this battle, and it's not a black and white situation. People might say, oh my goodness, it's this person, it's that person.
Yes, it
No.
is.
If the bond was reduced and the judge let him off on bail, there's circumstantial evidence that he was released. I'm not saying that, oh my goodness, he could have done so and so. There's other ways to resolve the situation, but from what I know and from what I understand from law, is that if you're let out on bail on circumstantial evidence, there's more to the story than what the public knows. Whether it's CCTV, whether it's witness, whether it's this and that, clearly there's something they're not telling us and they're withholding. That's all.
But they're not litigating a case at a bond hearing. It was a
Can I
bond
say
hearing.
two things to what
The
she said
bond
though?
was
So for
reduced, so
one, the
there must
poker,
have been either a grand jury or a hearing in either
No,
the
that's not.
chambers
that's
without the
not.
public knowing.
Hold on,
Can
everybody
I just
can't
say
talk at the
something?
same time. Then people can't hear. But I'm gonna let you. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Motivate. How?
Haters.
What's
Haters
Hazel?
that were motivated. Yeah.
Haters that motivate. Okay, I'm gonna let you finish your statement. Then I'm gonna let Dee Dee say something real quick, and then we'll get to Ella.
Yeah, no worries, thank you. And when you go to court, right, you have the prosecution, you have the defense, and there's two sides to every story. Of course, even when the actual father of the deceased, when he came on and gave his statement to the press, he told them this is not a race issue. So clearly, in that statement, I already knew he was kind of taking on some sort of accountability for his deceased son, right? There's more to the story that they're not letting on. And unfortunately, we're not being told this until court actually goes to trial. But from my understanding, it seems like the BLK man obviously was defending himself in the state of Texas, given they were 17, 1 year off from being adults, 1 year off from being legally able to carry non-lethal weapons in that state to defend themselves, right? Even though it was on school grounds, if this child, this YT male, was continuously like bullying this BLK man over, I guess, a long period of time, then it becomes circumstantial. That's all I have to say.
Okay. So Dee Dee, what
Okay,
you
so
about to
I'm gonna
say?
say this. Okay, so firstly, it's very much about race. If you don't know nothing about Texas, please do never say it's not about race in Texas, baby. Because I can use a personal experience with my own child that was slapped and shoved on camera by a white child and was protected, including the fact that the assistant principal deleted the video. It is always going to be about race, first and foremost. Secondly, these two, the dad came out and said that because his sons was already making racial posts that they went and tried to scrub off the internet. They were saying they were going to do this and that to the monkeys. If you don't know nothing about Texas, just don't even speak on the race part, because this is a very racist state. Our, our children experience racism at the gate. Like,
D,
a
can
lot of
I
y'all don't
correct
know.
myself, D?
It's very much about
Hold
race
on.
when
Wait,
a
I don't think
watching.
that's what
Yes,
she's trying to say, D.
That's not what I
From
said at
Texas.
all. So let's correct that, D. That's not
Okay,
exactly
so
what I
like
said.
I
I
said,
said
it's
according to
very
the
much
father
about.
of the
Hold
deceased.
on, hold
Let's
on. I'm
correct
telling you
my
why the
wording.
father came out and said.
Let's
I'm
correct
telling you
exactly what I
why.
said.
I'm telling you why the father came out and
Haters
said
on my
that.
motivation. She waited
D, I
until
don't
you
think she's
finished
saying
your
she agrees
statement
with
to
him.
speak. Ella,
We'll,
wait.
we'll let her
Because
respond.
haters is my motivation.
Let's
She
not put
waited
words
until
in
you
people's
spoke.
mouth.
Haters. We're gonna let you respond. We're gonna be fair to everybody. We're gonna let you respond and then clarify. Because if you want to clarify what you had to say, we'll be fair and we'll let you respond. But Dee Dee, I'm gonna let you finish what you were saying.
So the father rushed to say that, not only because his children were making racist posts, in which, like I said, they rushed to the internet to delete, but it speaks to the area in which they're in. If you know anybody that's really in Texas, that's really in Dallas, Texas, ask them about the racial divides. It's very clear and cut. So you have a group of young boys that are posting, talking about monkeys and disrespecting Black people. Yeah, it's not about race, especially when your dad is a rapist and has his own history of doing some foul shit. But when we talk about Texas and someone brings up this case, yes, it is. There's a very similar case in which I spoke on when I first started talking, where two YTs had almost the exact same similar issue, except it happened in the bathroom with a poker, and no one is even mentioning this case in which it's happening right now. And it's the way that it's happening and the way it's covered is specifically because two YTs did this to each other. So when we have a conversation about how or where we are with Texas, it's always going to be race. I'm so sorry. It's a very racial case. That is why white people are in an uproar, because Black children are not supposed to respond to the bullying, to the being forced out of something. They're supposed to accept and move.
All right. All right. I mean, yeah, let's be honest. We're not gonna we're not gonna sit up here and ignore the fact that the reason why they're literally threatening a judge, the reason why they're literally threatening a judge is because he's Black. Because you don't see that happening in no other circumstance. I want haters motivate. You can go ahead. Haters are my motivate. You can go ahead and respond.
I don't mean to get emotional, but sis, everything you said is so accurate. Obviously, I'm not from Texas. I didn't grow up from where you guys grew up. But what I said was the father of the deceased, so the YT man of the YT deceased, said it's not a race issue. So what I said was, let's look at that already. He's going to the press. Don't YT people weaponize racism in every situation? So already we know that this is a literal, like this situation, the Black man is going to win the case. When have you ever seen a YT person go on camera and say, this is not a race issue? I agree with you 100%. You spoke facts. And I'm not even going to, I guess, rebuttal or I guess come across defensive. What I will add though is all I was saying is the firearms, oh sorry, the pew pews, the non-lethal weapons, this and that. I was just talking about the ages and the I guess environments where you can have them in and why it's important to this specific situation. I'm not defending anything. I'm pro-Black. I literally, if this kid was getting bullied, he didn't unalive a child for no reason. He didn't do it for no reason, right? I'm not going against anything you guys say. You guys say I'm not from Texas, this and that, but as an outsider with legal background and looking into these cases, I like to come into these like spaces and I guess speak to you guys. That's all. That's all I was saying. But it's not really me going against you because I 100% agree with what you were saying. That's all.
No need to get
No,
emotional,
I was
girl.
just
We're just
responding
all
to the
speaking.
father, why the father would even come out and say that. That was the point that I was responding to.
Yeah, okay. No worries, sis. I thought it was like, no, because I want to make myself clear and I want to make sure that what I'm saying is clear from start to finish. Yeah, that's all.
All right. Now we're gonna get to because there's been people who haven't spoken yet. We got new people on the panel. So, but we all in agreement. We all pro black here. We're black. Well, I'm black first, like first and foremost. But we all love black people here. So, everything is everything. Everything is love. So we're gonna get to Ella now.
Okay, hi, sorry. So what I was trying to say earlier too is regarding a bond, the whole point of a bond is just to ensure that you're going to show up in court. So when it's being reduced, what comes into play is not like evidence that, oh, you were self-defense or anything like that. What came into play is like, is he a public safety risk, right? Does he have ties to the community? Does he have like a criminal history? Is he a flight risk? So a financial situation, stuff like that is what determined whether or not the bond was reduced, and not necessarily like, oh, they had new details. And this is not to say that I'm saying he's guilty. I am pro Mello all the way. I'm just saying that that's usually why a bond is reduced. Those are the factors that are typically taken into account.
Okay. Do you think also? I mean, because a bond, there can be situations. I'm just asking. There can be situations where somebody is overcharged for a bond, and then they can bring up evidence about the situation that could cause the bond to be lowered. I mean, that can happen as well. Because let's be honest, a bond for $1 million was it was way too much. It was way too much. So I mean, not I do think that there are factors. Clearly, he's not a flight risk. He's not a risk of escape. He's gonna show back up and everything like that. He's not a danger to society or anything like that. So I'm sure that that was a factor. I also do think that the original bond of $1 million way too much, and like other people were saying, there were probably more evidence because and I've done lives about this on YouTube before, and other stuff, and other TikTok lives. The police originally said that they took everybody's phone. So if there is a video, the police have the video. And if the police have the video, that means the lawyers have the video. Now the video is not out to the public. If there is a video, I'm 99.9% sure that there is some video.
Just to
Okay.
add to that, Afro, really quick, the advocate for the family, Anthony family, has confirmed that there are video footage. He
Yeah.
confirmed that on TV, so I just wanted to add that.
Okay. Did he confirm that whole incident was caught on video, or is
Yes,
there
he
like
confirmed
aftermath?
that. Yes, he said they had video footage, and when the reporter said the entire incident, and he said yes, they have the footage.
Okay, see, that's exactly, and I said that from day one. I said from day one that there's a video. The police sees, and they put this in their arrest report. The police seized everybody's phone, all of the students' phone. They seized everybody's phone who could have got a video. So if they had a video, and I said this then, if they had a video, they would show they would have to release that to the attorneys of the family, and the attorneys would look at the video, and then they would base their argument off of that. I think that with the evidence, and then somebody also said that there was tampering of evidence as well too. With all of the evidence, um that the lawyer could, because the lawyer still has to make a case. The lawyer would be able to make the case to the judge that with this amount of evidence on Karmelo's behalf, this bond is overcharged, or the bail is too much. The bail is overkill. And I think that the judge right here, Judge Tucker, she looked at all of the evidence and she said that, okay, looking at the evidence, looking at the circumstances, looking at his background as well too, I'm going to lower the bond. Which was fair. That's fair. His bond, he shouldn't be in charge at all for anything, to be honest. But that's definitely fair.
He shouldn't be charged for anything at all. Man, you guys are crazy, Doug.
Well, yeah, okay. What should he be charged with?
So
Because
nobody, like, quick question. Nobody here feels bad that somebody died, man.
that's not. No, no, no. You don't get to ask questions. No, no, no. what should he be charged with? I asked you a question. What should he be
I
charged
don't
with?
get to ask questions. What this
No,
is like?
no. Answer
We only
my
say what you
question.
want to
I'm
say
the
type of
host,
thing,
sir.
bro.
I'm the host, sir.
Respect the
Answer
host.
my
I mean,
question,
I'm being
and then I'm
respectful. I
going to
haven't said
answer
anything
No,
out
yours.
of
you're
pocket.
not.
No, you're not. You can't
No,
say
but see,
Respectfully,
as
that.
the
You
host.
host,
just
if you
jumped
can
off your
ask
mic.
us questions, this is his panel. Okay, have
Hey,
some
you got an echo
respect.
chamber going on. Enjoy it. Stay ignorant. Bye.
Okay, see you
Yeah, your
later.
mama ignorant. And your daddy and your ancestries. Y'all better get him.
He's
Y'all better
gone.
get him.
He's gone, family. He's gone. Afro, it is 1:10 Eastern Standard
Yeah, I was
Time.
about to
Not
wrap this up. There's been people in
right.
here
If everybody
about
want to
what's
give
that
their
about
last
to.
submission, the trolls are about to start trolling, and I don't think we're
Mhm.
really in the mood for
I've
it
been
as
timing
far
them
as
out
this
in the
case
chat
is
room. I don't know if
concerned.
you saw, but I've been getting rid of them in the chat room. When
I
they say
have,
stuff, you know.
yeah, I have.
So yeah, we'll let everybody get their kind of last things. Let me see. So let's get to Latoya, and then we'll kind of like circle it around like that. We'll do it like counterclockwise, like that.
So I absolutely believe, because we just touched on this, like, I absolutely believe that Hunter should be charged as an accessory
Mm-hmm.
because he is the one who started the whole altercation. Had you not been trying to police Black people in public spaces, this would not be an issue. As well as also, you did two things. You assaulted him and you took his property. So you stole his property. Thugs.
Yeah, he should. And all of this he already confessed to. He confessed to this on camera. He confessed to this to the police. He confessed that they instigated the situation. And then the situation that first off, he said he instigated the situation, not even they. He said his brother jumped in after he started it. So according to his account, he's the one who started the whole situation, not Karmelo or even his brother Austin. It was him. So it all really falls back to the brother Hunter in the first place. So that's a really good point, and he should be held accountable for what he did.
And I'm sorry, we talked about eyewitness testimony and witness statements. Listen, when you reading that police report and eyewitness testimony, it is all subjective, okay? All of us, we could be here watching the altercation and we're all gonna have different takes on what happened. That is why eyewitness testimony is really not beneficial because it's all subjective.
Yeah, it doesn't have that much weight, even in court. It doesn't have too much weight to it unless there's other evidence to back it up. It's kind of like the icing to a cake instead of the actual cake. The cake is the hard evidence. Witness testimony is not hard evidence. Witnesses, they lie a lot. Witnesses have bias. And even if the witness doesn't have bias or is lying, witness testimony can very well be wrong. People can be wrong. It can be subjective. Somebody might say something was a little tap versus a hit versus a pull versus a shove versus and then people's memory as well too. People not might say one thing one time and then remember a whole different situation 2-3 weeks later, or small little details. So it's not hard evidence. What is hard evidence would be a video. That would be hard evidence, which if that's what they're saying they have, then there's nothing that's gonna beat that. And thank you for that. Let's get to haters are my motivators.
Thank you. What I would say is this is controversial, but I think the case should be thrown out. And for that reason is because by the time the judge does actually address the case, he will be either 1 or 2 years older from when the event happened. What I would suggest instead is the family tries to sue the accused of I don't know, not negligence, but unalivement. I don't know what the wording is, but they should turn it into a civil matter. How many times have the YT people gotten away with unaliving Black people and they've turned it into a civil matter? This is the same circumstance. This man was defending himself. If we are not going to make it a criminal case, let's turn it into a civil matter, right? The family of the unalived should sue the family of the accused, go to civil court, ask for whatever you want, period. I don't think that you guys should go to court and look at criminal cases or, sorry, criminal charges. If not, for me, look at either settling with the accused or withdrawing your charges, right? This young black man with a promising future doesn't need to go through all these hurdles, doesn't need to go to court, doesn't need to go and get his future thrown away because a white tea man, literally the same age as him, was picking on him his whole life in college, right? So the family of the unalived should seek out a settlement from the accused, sort it out, settle it out of criminal court, period. That's what I think should happen.
So,
That's
haters,
all.
I just want to
Well,
add really quickly.
hold on.
She
Let's
says that they're. I just want to clear her up.
Because why
They
is
didn't
he
have a
going to
history. They
criminal
didn't have a history.
courts?
They were
It
strangers.
doesn't
They
need
didn't
to
have
be
a
in criminal
history.
courts.
There was no history. I just want to clarify that, haters. You keep saying that they had this
Right.
ongoing history, and that's
Well,
really
this is
important
according
part of
to.
this case. They
There
had
is
no
no
history.
according to. They didn't know each
Okay,
other.
then I had the wrong source. That's my
Yes, you
mistake.
do.
Let me correct myself.
That's just why
I'll
we
correct
gotta
myself.
be very careful with misinformation and make sure that the facts are 100% verified, because a lot of people, especially when the
Exactly.
situation first happened, a lot of people were saying that there was some type of party or somebody's girlfriend was involved and they knew each other or
When I
whatever.
say history host, it could
And
even be someone. We know high school. We know how it works. It could be someone laughing at a joke about you. It could be one interaction prior to the event, right? That means history to me. What
Well,
I'm
this is
saying
what I
is,
think
but
happened.
instead of
here's the thing.
pursuing,
Hold on.
instead of
Here's the thing. Hold on. Just real quick, because Real American was doing this as well. All right. Not even Jedi was also kind of doing this. Jedi, the other white dude, he was
okay,
doing this
correct
too.
me, educate me.
Um,
Yeah.
because when you come up and you imply that a situation is the case when that's really not the case, until we have any evidence, by all accounts, by the account of both families, there was absolutely no interaction with each other ever. That the Karmelo did not know who Austin was. Austin didn't know who Karmelo
Okay.
was. So,
Okay.
saying anything against that, saying anything like, "Oh, I heard this one thing" and all that stuff. Now you're leaning and you're kind of conveying misinformation. You're kind of
Of course.
spewing misinformation, which is going to harm the case.
And I'll take
It's gonna hurt the case
accountability. Yeah.
because they're trying to use that as with the whole party thing. They're trying to use that to create some motive for Karmelo and say
Yeah.
that this was some type of premeditated attack.
Of course. I will. Thank you guys for educating me. I'll look more into it, but of course, not speaking on something that I don't know. We know the story is moving daily, so yeah. Thank you so much for educating me, but I feel as though this case should be settled civilly. It shouldn't have to go to
Wait,
criminal
why?
court.
Why are you saying
Also,
that?
before you
Why does she
leave,
keep saying that it should be
yeah.
that it should be?
Also,
That's crazy.
yeah. Also, before you leave, the thing is that at this point in time, the case is not, the family is not in charge of the case anymore. When I mean Austin's family, this is the prosecutor. So unless they convince the family might want to sue civilly, but the prosecutor is still going to prosecute this case on a criminal level. So it's not like the family get to choose to do that or not. But even if they wanted to take it to a civil case, I would say what Carmelo's family can also argue is that why should my family, if I was Carmelo's father, I would say, why should my son and my family have to pay your son when my son was the one who was attacked?
Exactly. It's not about paying
Your
one
family
another.
should be paying
It's
me.
not one
But
person
when you're
paying
saying
someone
that as a
else.
civil
It's
matter,
about when you
I'm gonna use
settle
an
it
example.
civilly and out of court, it's also removing any type of junction raised against, I guess, Carmelo's son in the media. It's all these different scenarios that you can include in the settlement.
Later,
It's
are
not
you
just
in
about
America?
money.
Do you live in
Hold
America?
on. This is the issue with what you're saying.
Oh,
So
here we go.
if
That's
it's civil,
crazy.
right? You're looking at a situation where You caused your own unaliving. And I personally know someone that when the police came back,
It's
they
not
told them they
that,
caused
sis.
they caused their own unaliving.
No,
So
no. When you sue
yes,
someone in a civil matter, you literally have, for
you still
example,
there's
you have
still
this
court.
situation, and then you have
There's still
different.
court.
No,
You
but
can't
when
Okay,
you go
okay,
sue
to
hold on.
civil
someone.
Let's, because
court,
everybody can't talk at the same time. Everybody can't talk at the same time.
okay, but can I
So,
reply to her?
yeah,
When you go to
what
civil
are you
court,
saying? What are you saying should happen?
I
Like
don't
this,
care if
this
I'm not
clarifies.
American host, but when you go to civil court, you as I guess the accused or the plaintiff, you can write down exactly what it is that you want to take away from the matter. You can include into the settlement what it is you want to achieve. So
Okay.
for the accused, he can write any single negative word against me in the media that be erased. Da, 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 da. He can put in his own types of things that he wants out of the settlement. Also, the person that was unalived until it was proven that the accused did it, they can sue for A, B, and C. It doesn't have to be for, oh my goodness, he did it. No, it's not Carmelo taking accountability. It's Carmelo saying, we're not going to court, but guess what? Let's come to a money or a monetary figure for both of us to be happy. And it comes in terms. It's not one is right, one is wrong. That's why you go to different types of hearings with lawyers, and it takes a while when it comes to a civil matter. It's
Okay,
not.
well,
It's
It can take
let's
years.
say this. Here's the thing with that
the
situation.
same way of criminal court hearing
If a
works.
family here, because we've seen civil cases. Okay, for what you would be saying in this situation would be them suing for wrongful death. All
No,
right,
no, it
that's
wouldn't even be.
if
Well, that's
what
what
would they be
everyone would
suing under
assume.
if it's not wrongful death?
I wouldn't say it's wrongful death. I would even say, let me look. I wouldn't even say it's wrongful death because in a settlement, that's Carmelo taking accountability for the guy's unaliving,
Okay, hold on.
which he's
Let
not
me ask you
doing.
this question. You think that Carmelo's family should sue, or do you think Austin's family should sue? Which family do you think should sue? Because they both can't sue each other. Well, they kind of can,
No,
but
She's
which
talking about
they
family do
can
you
Austin
think
counter
should
family.
sue?
sue. That's what I'm saying.
You
Look,
think that
the
Austin's family should sue?
no, because Austin family has joined, I guess, with the well, the prosecution is their own body. They are, I guess, the city pays them. But what
Hmm.
I'm saying is the accused family, when they go to civil court, can counter sue. That's what I'm saying, which they will get the upper hand, right?
Okay.
Rather than going through criminal court where it's you're guilty, not guilty verdict. But when you go through, I guess, civil settlement, they can counter sue. There's different ways that they can come with an outcome. They could even sue the city. They can sue the police force. They can sue so many different, even a magazine or a news outlet for, I guess, throwing the story out there without their permission. The guy is literally 17. Why they're putting his face all over the news? He can sue so many people as a counter sue. That's why I'm saying it's better for him and his family to go through civil
It
settlement rather
ain't
than
gonna happen. It
But
ain't gonna
here's the thing.
happen.
Here's the thing, because it seems like what you're saying now is not what you were saying before originally.
okay.
Which
Because it
originally what
wasn't.
it
She
came off.
changed.
Hold on. Originally, what it came off at, and I paid very close attention. What you said is that the victim's family, and you're saying that was Austin's family, should instead of pursuing this on a criminal case, they should take this and they should take this and move this, transform this into a civil case, and
Yeah.
then Carmelo's family should take a settlement and essentially
No, no,
pay.
no, 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 no.
Okay, that's
No.
originally what it was coming
No.
off as.
Okay, then I
Now it's
take
kind
that
of like
back.
they
If
should
that's
both
what I
sue each
said,
other, and
what I meant was if they went to civil court, literally the accused has the upper hand in so many ways where he can counter sue so many different possibilities. Going to
okay,
criminal court.
okay, all right. Because
No.
we
If
gotta
I
wrap
said
it up.
that,
We
that's
do
not
have
what
to
I
wrap it
meant.
up. So I'm gonna
That's
let
not what
you.
I meant.
Okay,
I'll stay quiet
we'll
now.
say for the sake of the argument and for the sake
Yeah.
of keeping the peace that what you're saying now is what you meant. All right.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Thank you.
let's get to love black.
Thank you. Haters, I don't know why we spent so much time. You lost so many followers trying to follow down that rabbit hole. She's not even from this country. So, hypothetically speaking, haters, please don't
It's
come
more
off of me.
about followers, babe,
Hypothetically
and it's not
Hold
speaking,
about
on,
losing
haters,
we are
haters.
people.
Now, haters,
hypothetically
Don't
come on now.
speaking.
push
We're
it.
not going to do hypotheticals, right? Because you're throwing out all of these conspiracy like theories or doing whatever you're doing, running down these rabbit holes away from the factual cases. This man has to go through a criminal case, right? If they're going to charge him, then it's a criminal case here in the United States of America. That's number one. Number two, if anyone's going to sue someone, right, it would be Karmelo in my case, because he was the one that was interjected into something while he was minding his own business. And in this country, there's a stand your ground law. And so I want you to go and do a lot of reading before you come back to another panel so you can have informative and meaningful discussions that are based not on hypotheticals, but actually factuals. Last, I would say that with regards to Karmelo, in this country, in most states, right, and especially red states, what we call the southern states, if you go in and you commit a crime with someone, so let's say you and I, haters, went and got a crime, we committed some type of crime, and we go in together, and somebody comes out unalived, guess what? The person that comes out free, unalived, is going to be charged still. So basically, Hunter, in this case, would be charged, in my opinion, because he initiated, went with malice and intent to harm someone and create some type of violence, not really understanding the outcome. And the outcome was his unaliving of his brother. Therefore, you're now charged with the unaliving of your brother. And in most cases, if they were BLK kids, that's what would happen. He would be charged. And it's just that it's not about morality. It's not about how you feel. It's about state law. And that's what state laws should apply and be kind of given and granted to everyone on the same level. It's not narrow-minded, just that. You guys, thank you, Afro, for bringing me up on this panel. I just love these
Can I say
discussions and
something?
informative.
Hold
Go
on.
ahead, girl.
Wait.
Nah, girl, you can't talk no more.
Thank you,
We
Love
got
Black.
other people who need to speak.
Seriously.
We've been on
Okay.
here for like what 3-4 hours. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? We're saying that and this isn't to dish you or anything like that, but this is to say the original point that you made, it was very shifty. And this is just me. This is the host speaking. What you said originally was not what you landed on. The direction you were going originally was that this should be taken out of criminal case. You know, the family should drop the criminal case, and then I had to tell you, well, it's really the prosecution, and then it was a shift. It was very shifty. And no disrespect, maybe if you're not from America, you don't know how it is. Maybe you meant the best, and I'm trying to keep this as respectful as possible. You meant the best, but that argument was very shifty, and it seemed like you were trying to save face, and it just didn't work. It didn't work.
Can I say this? Did y'all notice I was on mute all the time? Because I don't live in Texas. I know Texas is its own beast. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? And I hate when they do that to us in New York. So not that she's, her not being from America does play into it, but even for us in the States, if we don't live in the state and we have those native people, native staters, for lack of a better word, um, that live there, let them answer the question. And there's nothing wrong with saying, what I say personally is this is above my weight class, meaning I can't contribute to that part, that question. And y'all know I think I'm a know-it-all. So sometimes we have to admit that we shouldn't be answering the question. So there's nothing wrong with being on mute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's all I wanted
No,
to say.
and we weren't trying to bully or be mean or disrespectful or anything like that, but like and I've done this for years now. I can clearly tell when somebody was trying to save face, and she was trying. And given and being very graceful with her, and say she was meaning the best, but she realized, okay, that didn't make any sense, and she was trying to save face. No, I mean they should both sue each other, and then they should both agree, and he should sue the media. I'm like, ma'am, nah, come, all right. It's come on now. Just admit that was not a good point. It's okay. It's okay. But especially if you're not from Texas, you do have to understand that each state has a different way of going, especially Texas. You know, So you should really adhere to the people who are from Texas when it comes to these situations. Even I have to do that. And I'm not from Texas, so even I have to do that. I'm talking about the general principle about the way people are responding to this situation. But as far as the law goes, I'm looking the laws up and everything like that, but I'm not at all trying to portray to be some type of expert on Texas law or this situation. Okay. Um, it is okay. You're in the chat room. It's okay to hear other people's perspectives, but that perspective, ma'am, come on now. Just don't do it to yourself. Don't do it to yourself. Don't do it to yourself. Come on, I'm trying to tell you. Harley Quinn, you got it.
Oh Lord, I can't stand these people that get on my effing nerves. I'm sorry, host. I'm not about to be nice, and I'm not fixing to be showing no grace. Now I've been on mute myself, kind of letting. She was all over the place. First of all, they don't have no grounds to sue. The brother done screwed that up. They were the aggressors. How the hell is the aggressor gonna sue? First of all, nobody can dictate how a person decides to defend themselves. That's the other thing. At the end of the day, you have a lot of these people who are low key really for this little YT boy. Nobody wants to stick to the facts, and that's fine. You can decide to go along with whatever you feel like you want to go along with, but the facts and the truth is the truth. And no way in hell would Karmelo have gotten off if the prosecutor, the judge, all of those people who had to go up and present this case, they wouldn't have let him go. So clearly there is something there. Too much has already been said. Too much has already been brought out there. There was tampering of evidence. There was all types of stuff. And like the young lady said earlier, if there was anything that they had on him, the smallest, the slightest of things, the state of Texas would have still had his behind locked up. I live in Texas, born, raised, and bred in Texas, and that is not how they do. Whatever little bit of the slightest of evidence that they have against you, they're not releasing you. Unless, of course, you are like Kyle Rittenhouse, and depending on who the judge is and all of that. But for my people, as black people, they don't do that here. And they have really no case. They all know that this boy was the aggressor. He was guilty. He had no right to go up in there and play top flight security police of the tent. It didn't belong to him. They was at a public event that Karmelo had that he was allowed to be at. He was supposed to be at. He was on the roster. We already know that he was allowed to have a poker because they was running track. And for those who deal with sports, they have to get the stuff out of their shoe. That's why they did not get a weapons charge on him, because that would have been another thing that they slapped on him. They have nothing on this kid except the fact that he defended himself. Now I know it's kind of hard for y'all to believe because y'all so used to people who look like, spoiled milk to get away with everything. Y'all really mad at the fact that this black boy, it comes from a clean family. He has no criminal record. Y'all ain't got nothing to put on him, absolutely nothing. And that is driving y'all asses insane. So at the end of the day, you might as well, and for the people in the comments trying to compare this to OJ, guess what? OJ still got off. Regardless. That's what y'all keep missing. Y'all keep trying to say, okay, OJ. Guess what? OJ walked out of that courtroom in spite of. And y'all was mad about that. And y'all gonna be mad about this. This young man did not go up in there with the intent to hurt or harm anybody. This kid had a 3-point-something OGPA. He was captain of his team. Who wakes up and decides to do something except some crackers who was so used to being the book? Because that's what's another thing that's gonna come out. Y'all about to find out that these YT boys have a reputation for doing stuff like this. On top of that, the dad has a criminal record. The dad was arrested for essaying people.
Well, yeah,
So
he got
everything,
a lengthy
okay, a
criminal record.
lengthy record. So y'all are really mad that the roles have, that everything has been flipped. You understand? And that is why y'all asses is dying now. Y'all can piss in the wind with all of this other stuff. We don't care. Karmelo is at home. He is with his family. I pray to God, and all of us need to pray to God for this young man's mental. You can tell in his mugshot that he was just drained and he was just done. And for those people who are in denial, let this happen to your kid because you keep on talking, y'all gonna F around and find out. We are our ancestors' dreams. We are not sitting around here taking y'all's bull crap anymore. So y'all might as well get used to it. We got our folding chairs. We got whatever we need to keep y'all asses off our back, okay? Welcome to the new 25 Alabama Brawl, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to land my plane.
I'm gonna say,
Thank you, sister.
I'm glad I got Kyle Rittenhouse's picture up here. Do you guys know the situation with Kyle Rittenhouse? These same people were trying to pull up they were dusting off laws to make his weapon legal. They was all like, no, if you have a hunter license, well, if you got a hunter license when you're 15, it carries over until you're 18. They were trying to find any type of loophole and everything like that to make what he did legal. Oh, well, if you go to another state, but it's okay if you go to another state with an adult. And the thing is that, well, he did do CPR in high school. Like, they were trying to find every little legal loophole to make him innocent. The thing is that clearly Karmelo is, because in this situation, y'all can't even find a legal loophole to make him guilty. They're making stuff up. They're literally making stuff up.
That's why they
Talking about his
mad.
family bought a house. Talking about it was premeditated. They knew each other from there. If they had a case, they wouldn't have to make anything up. They'd be all like, it's wrong because this, and this. But they can't say that because really it's not wrong. They just don't like the idea of a black kid being able to get off with self-defense. So they're making stuff up.
Yep.
And the
Gina
more
G.
they, here's the thing, the more they keep doing that, they're making the situation worse for Austin.
Yeah.
That part.
They really are.
way worse
Okay.
for Austin.
Call it, host. Call it, host. Call it. And Gina G in the comments, if you don't quit, I'm about to call you some names because you've been down there just because you trying to assimilate to to whiteness. It ain't about to work. You need to take your tight-eyed ass on somewhere and go to bed. Nobody is
I've been on her
listening.
all
You
night. Why
sound
you say
stupid.
anything?
And
Okay, this ain't got
Spitfire.
nothing to
And the
do with you.
Spitfire,
You
guys.
sitting up here talking shit. You don't know what you talking about. You've been spreading misinformation the whole time in the comments, and you just like the people that was up here. Clearly, you don't read. Your elevator don't go up. The bread ain't baked on both sides. You need to go on, tend to your kids, take your ass to bed, find you something safe to do.
So after one,
Is it my
one,
turn?
you're not letting nobody back up, are you?
No.
No.
Who?
Okay.
Yeah, because we
Oh,
about to wrap it
did
up.
D go?
I need to
Did
go.
D say her last words?
Oh, not
Yeah,
yet.
go ahead, D.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this. I'm in on a positive note. I'm gonna say that this young man is gonna walk away with his life and he's gonna have to do a reset, but that's okay. The problem here is all lives matter until Black lives enter the chat. And in society, no matter which way we go as Black people, this should be our motivation to wake up and say, we've got to prioritize how our children are impacted. And I think that Black people that are truly trying to elevate in society continuously put their children in harm's way, unbeknownst to them. And I say that in the way of this. When you are a successful Black person and you have a child, you move your child in an environment that is almost detrimental. And as a collective, we have to wrap our arms tighter as a community around these children, because the ways in which success is based in today's society, it is the most harmful thing to young Black men. And this young man, although approached, threatened, he stood his ground. And the problem with this conversation is they are not used to Black people standing up for themselves. And so when you are pushing back on the people that have been benefiting off of your oppression, been the perpetuators of every form of violence historically and present day,
They do not know how to swallow the pill in which they created. And this should be the motivation that a lot of Black people need to say, it is time for us to create some form of bonding and binding for our community. The way they kept interfering with his money, the way that they kept trying to block this young man from being able to be released speaks volumes on the power that Black people hold. We need some way or another to unify ourselves in a position where we are protecting our children. Our children should always be first and foremost. And this shows right now, this case is supposed to be an eye-opener for how Black children are being targeted. We teach our children to move around. Y'all gotta be tired. Somebody got to be tired of always trying to prepare your kids how to move around white people. In 2025, you're still teaching your children how to survive around these people. That should tell you right there how society has laid a blanket out for them to be your oppressor. How they're still conveniently putting themselves in position for you to be the threat based on you showing up with that pew pew of dark skin. So at the end of the day, I'm gonna stop there and say he gonna walk. We gonna speak that into existence. He gonna get to skate like these other ones did. Didn't they get to walk out after they took someone's life and all of a sudden they were making money off of it and selling cans of Skittles with some Arizona tea? Well, it's a term where when it's justified, let it be justified. There's no justice in this system, but I think he will be able to see it. But thank you for having me.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm gonna say before BX, before you go, I'm gonna say this case is very important because this case is gonna set a precedent moving forward. Now, somebody in the chat room, I don't remember exactly who said it, but they said that Karmelo is the perfect example of everything that we be telling our kids that they need to be. He was great at school. Okay. He participated in after school programs. He has no criminal background whatsoever. He even saved somebody's life before. He saved the kid's life from drowning before. Absolutely on every perfect in every way. No trouble before, or whatever the case is. Perfect in every way. Now he gets into a situation and he needs the community to have his back. This is why I'm here. I'm here not because I know him at all, but I'm here because it's my responsibility to serve the community, and he needs the community to have his back. And this, if we do this the way we are doing this right now, we're setting the precedent for the youth, for the kids in high school, that we have your back. Okay. We want you guys to have a bright future, and we understand how this system can mess that up, but we won't allow it to. We will be the vanguards to allow these children to grow, to have some type of prosperous future. Even though it's like you said, D, is going to have a reset. He's going to have a reset. Of course, we all know that, but that's fine. That's fine. And we'll help you go along. We can work on that. We'll just taking one step at a time right now, but he will see the light of day. He will, and we'll make sure he does. BX, you got it.
So I just want to say another great live Afro. I don't know what the conditions of his bond is. If he can get on social media and see all of the support that he has, and with that he will see the negative. But I hope he holds on to the positive and knows that we are rooting for him, and within the best ability, we are trying to help him. So he does have more support than not support, if that makes sense. So I gotta ask you, Afro, like I always ask you, when will you come back to TikTok? Because you do have a base here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You always do. I might
Yeah.
be able to do. It depends. Early on. Maybe tomorrow. I might be able to do it tomorrow before my live stream tomorrow, because I go live on YouTube tomorrow. I'm gonna do that like around
Yes.
7 o'clock tomorrow. So
So y'all can follow
I'm
Afro
Central
on
Time, so you guys know.
all all social media. Afro, are you Afro Elite? Or
Yeah,
all,
on all
yeah,
social
right.
media.
And he also has a podcast called For the Culture on YouTube too. So y'all can follow him there. So follow him in case you want to get more of his great discussions. He only visit us once in a blue moon. I'm tired. That's why I'm messing up my words. Until I start, when you come in Afro, when you come in, you got fans over here, you got people that want to interact with you. So if not tomorrow, we'll take a rain check, but just make it sooner than like
once a
Yeah,
month,
definitely with this
like the end of
case
the month.
and reaction, I
Yeah.
definitely want to do it sooner than later. I definitely want to.
Okay.
I appreciate
No
all of the call,
problem.
all of the speakers. Thank you also, the good ones, not the trolls. We had some trolls. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
But
Some pesky white tea
This was
people.
a good live host. You
Just
did your
before
big
you,
one
yeah,
on
and
this
just
one.
before you close out, because I know you're going to say some closing words. So before you close out, I just want to say thank you for allowing me, and thank you all for sticking with the community. I do want to call out something you guys have mentioned. We oftentimes, and my mom did it to me, take our kids out into these communities and put them in schools for better education. Let's start working on our own community. Carmelo's mom and dad moved from Louisiana to what they would call a better situation. And we still found him in this not so great situation. So let's start placing emphasis on our own communities and cleaning those up and cleaning up our schools and using our platforms to do so because we're capable of doing it. Instead of integrating, and I'm not saying integration's awful, so that's not what I'm calling out, but instead of that's the first thing we want to do is let's move our kids completely into this foreign conditions and potentially, they're subjected to identity loss, all kind of other things that they're, second place and second tier, just so much, right? Being subjected in these environments. So let's just be careful of when we're looking to these YTs for superior, we give them a lot of that power by looking up and thinking that we are going to become something by integrating with them rather than building up our own community. I just wanted to call that out. Thank you so much, Afro and everyone, for allowing me to be on this panel. And I followed most of you guys. So thank you again.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's a
All
good
right,
point too. And we're gonna have to have a conversation about that as well too. But thank all of the speakers. There's some information that I didn't even know that I'm glad I found out during this live. Some stuff I'm gonna research. Like I said, I'm also gonna go live on my YouTube channel, which is my biggest channel, Afro Elite on YouTube tomorrow. And I'm also, of course, going to be discussing this situation and the reaction that we've been seeing in the online. So you guys follow me on that. And if you guys want to listen to the playback, I put the playbacks to my TikTok. I put that on For the Culture. So that way, if you guys came in late and be like, oh man, this was good, you guys can go to the For the Culture channel and you guys can listen to the playback. All right. But thank you all, and you all have a good night.
Good night.
Great live.
Afro
Good night,
Elite.
everyone.
Good night, Mama.
Good night.
Expose evil. Go to hell.
Stop it. Good night.